Yes, guys. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Good afternoon, guys. I hope everyone's doing well. Sorry about yesterday's video. I had an awful headache most of the day. I've actually had a headache most of the day today. It's one of them you just can't get rid of, no matter how many drugs you take. When I say that, I mean paracetamol. It doesn't seem to go away, but hopefully it'll go soon. But yeah, we're going to bringing up the transfer roundup show, guys. Loads to talk about transfer wise from Liverpool Football Club. Not all of it. I will get to this before getting to anything, right? I always get comments after every video talking about why do you talk about rumours that ain't true? Why do you talk about this? Why do you talk about that? Well, I'm a Liverpool channel, guys, and when there's news about potential things, we always say these are rumours. We're going to talk about and debate it, and it's a fun show to talk about. I've got no real links to anything. I just read information that is handed to me. If I didn't do if I didn't do rumour shows, guys, and transfer rumour shows, there'd literally be no videos. So
because there's no football.
So yeah, that's what we're doing. Doing transfer roundup. We're going to talk about all the things linked, all the players linked to Liverpool, the players linked out of Liverpool, and situations there. And obviously, to help me with this, got my man K-Mac. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Hope you're all well. I can see a few people actually listened to my channel before, which is great. Good to have you over on my channel, and good to have you back here. Brilliant.
Yeah, K-Mac doing some good stuff on his channel right now. So we'll make sure you go and check that out as well, guys. I'm always in the background. I'm not always in the comments, but I'm in the background. Actually, I saw it was one of your videos you did the other day. I listened to last night in bed, so I actually fell asleep to K-Mac last night. So yeah,
that's weird. I fell asleep listening to you about 2 days ago, to be honest, when you were on.
There you go. We all fall asleep with each other. It's a weird day.
That went off. Mont's got some grief on that.
Yeah, good show,
I didn't think him and I didn't think him and Cal would speak again after that one.
Yeah, it's all cool. Big up Double A in the chat. Big up Jamie. Should every time didn't know you were live, but open YouTube and there you are, top of my feed. There you go. Big up Double A. Thank you very much. Big up everyone in the chat. I hope you're all doing fantastic. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share, and subscribe to K-Max, of course. The guys, obviously, a lot of news going around the world of Liverpool Football Club right now. Lots of transfer talk. A lot of people apparently leaving. We're going to get to the Van Dijk and Salah stuff a little later in the show. But what we're going to start with, this whole thing. I don't know how to say his name. Is it Leny Yoro? I can't remember.
Leny Yoro.
Yoro.
Yeah, I've messed it
up
a million times.
Leny Yoro.
I called him Rolo. I called him Rolo.
Apparently, Liverpool are very much in for him. So Man United, and so Real Madrid, and so PSG. So, look, obviously the news on this transfer is quite intriguing. We've had Paul Joyce talk about it, we've had David Orenstein talk about it, and Fabrizio talk about it. So, three of the top journalists in transfers talk about it, especially with Paul Joyce mentioning it yesterday that Liverpool are very much in for him. The problem is Real Madrid are lurking, and it's his it's his destination. Look, he's a young French centre back. A lot of young French centre backs like playing for Real Madrid. So I can see that being the one. But Real Madrid are stuck in a position at the moment where Lille wants 60 million euros for him, apparently. Real Madrid are willing to pay 40 million euros. And the reason Real Madrid can't maybe afford the full transfer at this moment in time is because of the Mbappe situation. Although Mbappe was a free transfer, I say free, because he was a £150 million sign-on. And so I don't know, that's a free transfer. And obviously his wages are around 500 grand a week, if to be believed. So
75, mate.
Yeah, if people believe
and his mum probably got paid quite a lot as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of money being changed. So, Real Madrid are not always these big, this sort of team that goes out and spends a lot of cash in recent years. They are quite wise how they do things. But this situation's interesting, and it came out because it does look like Liverpool are right in there. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get him. It looks like Real Madrid are the team that might get him, but I think this one could go most of the summer. What do you recommend?
Yeah, I think this one's got more legs than any of the others. Obviously, the Inacio stuff's been shut down by David Lynch. He said that's wide of the mark. The William Pancho one, we're not willing to pay 60 million, so that one's probably not going to happen. This one, he's definitely leaving. Like his club owner has said that him and Jonathan David are leaving because they've got the buy voucher or whatever it's called, which basically means they're down to the last year of their contract. They actually want 84 million for him, by the way. That's how much they want. But they're never going to get that because he's down to the last year of his contract. The interesting thing about this one is we have actually got more of a link into this guy than Real Madrid has. And the reason why is because of, what's his name? He's our director of football that's just come back. Oh no. What's his name? Linked to Portugal. Hang on. I've got it on my head. I've been thinking about
Julian Ward. Julian Ward.
Yeah, Julian Ward. Yeah. So we've got links to his agent through Julian Ward. He's got the same agent that we did the Darwin Nunes deal with. So we've actually got a run on that before anyone else. The Real Madrid thing is really interesting because it now looks like Saudi Arabia are trying to get the German centre-back, Rudiger, from them.
Yeah.
So if they sell him, then they will have a space for Leny Yoro. And then obviously we're talking about Virgil van Dijk, which we will then have a space for Leny Yoro. Because what Leny Yoro wants to do is he probably wants to play football because he's played 60 games already and he's only 18. I mean, he looks a real player. Like he looks bomb-proof as well. He looks like he's fully growing as well, which is really good for us because we seem to have problems injuring players that are growing. We've got quite a few that have been injured because they're growing, but he looks fully growing. He's 18. He's played 60 games. He's never been injured. He likes bringing the ball out the back. He really does look like a great player to have for like the next 10 years. Anyway, that's my update on him.
Yeah. I mean,
he doesn't play left back though. He is just a pure
centre back. Look, the interesting thing in all this is that Liverpool are looking for a top young talent, which and they're in the mix for a top young talent, which is a good thing. You know, these reporters, especially in Paul Joyce and David Ornstein, you know, they get strong connections, and Liverpool are after him, and Liverpool want him. Liverpool know that Real Madrid are the favourites, and they're aware that he wants Real Madrid. But the thing that Real Madrid haven't gone and got him yet. You know, Real Madrid haven't gone and got him yet. You know, reports. There's so many different reports out there. So there's reports that is it Lille's club, I believe, value him at 40 million quid, but teams value him at 40 million quid, but apparently his parent club wants 60 million quid. That's what they want from him. He's got a year left on his deal, I believe. He's only 18, so you can still ask for a lot of money for him being that age and how young he is.
They want to bid him more. They want to bid him more, mate.
Yeah, they want to bid him more because he's a superstar and he's probably going to go on to be one of the next big defenders like Saliba at that age and stuff like that. He's going to be that kind of defender by the look of it. Now, Liverpool would be... I think Liverpool got to try and keep going with this guy until they can't get him, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are saying Liverpool should give up now because Real Madrid look like they want to get him. But at this moment in time, Real Madrid haven't bid for him. And if Real Madrid can't afford to go and get him, and people will go, Jamie, you're mad. What do you mean Real Madrid can't afford to get him? As I said earlier, Real Madrid are quite, in the last few years, they understand their worth as a club now. And they don't, you know, and the Mbappe deal's a big deal. as we mentioned earlier, with the signing on fee and the wages and all that. It's a massive transfer financially. They might want him, but they might be looking at him and thinking we can't get to the price that his parent club want. So Liverpool go stay in there till the day they find out he's going to Real Madrid. Then they'll look elsewhere. But do you think it's the right idea, K-Mac? Do you think they should just drop it now and go, right, he's going to Real Madrid, forget about it? Or do you think Liverpool should stay in there with him just in case Real Madrid can't actually afford to go and get him and Liverpool could just come in there? Because by the sounds of it, I know PSG are in there as well, but
he doesn't want to go to PSG.
Yeah, what I've been reading is if he can't go to Real Madrid, Liverpool are the club he'd like to go to.
Yeah.
So, should Liverpool stay with this till the day they can't actually buy him, or should they just drop it now and look elsewhere?
I think so because we're a big club and also because we're looking to get these players. We're looking to kind of do what Real Madrid do now, which is what Michael Edwards wanted to do when he first came to Liverpool. Yeah. He wanted to spend big money on kids and give them a pathway and let them find themselves and not have to be launched into a team to play a certain way, which is what Real Madrid do. Like, you just look at some of the players that Real Madrid have bought. Like, they bought Vinicius Jr. and they bought Rodrigo, 45 million each. They weren't heard of for about 3 years. Like, seriously, like, you spend 45 million quid on a player and you never seen them for like a couple of years because they were allowed to grow and they were allowed to become superstars. And look what they are now. You know, one of them's probably the Ballon d'Or winner. Like, and they paid 45 million quid for him and he didn't do anything for about 2 years. Like, Liverpool can afford to do that, I think, with the new ownership, with Edwards. Like, bringing these kids in, paying big money, 30 million, 40 million, whatever, and then not having to launch them straight into the first team, letting them grow as players. You know, maybe giving them loans back to their parent clubs for another year. You know, I just think that makes sense. And, you know, if we get him and we get another guy, so we've got 2 defenders, then the pressure doesn't have to be on Yoro to go straight into the first team.
No.
But the fact that we've got a link through Julian Ward, who knows George Mendes, who's his agent, who's the same agent as Darwin Nunes, and Julian Ward was pretty much got the Darwin Nunes deal done. And you have to remember, loads of clubs were after Darwin Nunes as well. By the way, you know, he wasn't just like a guy that came out the blue. Like, there was a lot of big clubs that wanted Nunes. We stole the march on that, and we got him, and that was down to Julian Ward. Don't be surprised if this one happens. Like, really, don't be surprised. And the fact that Man United's been rejected was an interesting piece because I think they had 50 million euros rejected a couple of days ago. If that's real, then he obviously doesn't want to go to a non-Champions League club. We've got a lot to offer. We have got a lot to offer. And if you just look at the pathway that Konate got, like, I know Konate gets injured a lot, but you can obviously see the fact that, you know, Konate's now probably the number 1 centre-back for France. Like, he gets picked over Saliba, like Konate. Yeah. So, you know, Yoro can see the pathway there. You know, I go to Liverpool, I get to play, I'll get picked for France. Like,
it is interesting because obviously this links with the Virgil van Dijk stuff as well.
This is what makes it a little bit.
It links with the Virgil van Dijk stuff. So, you know, moments ago, let me get this. So I'll get this right.
I did talk about this a while ago on your show, though. I did say that Saudi Arabia were meeting Virgil van Dijk agents in Turkey.
So Ian Doyle has just said moments ago that Liverpool have had no contact from Saudi Arabia's side, Al Nassr, over a bid for their skipper, Virgil van Dijk. The thing is, they don't have to talk to Liverpool directly. We know that. We know how transfers.
They tap off their agents.
They just talk to the agents. Now, obviously, Yoro is a player that I think if Liverpool are looking at, he's the future, probably centre back of Liverpool Football Club. I think if you talk to a lot of, like, I don't know him personally and watched him and all that, but what I've read about Yoro and what I read about teams looking at him, a lot of these top teams consider him the next big thing in central defenders, like the next Virgil, or the next, like, that kind of centre back that's going to be one of the
Raphael Varane. He's been
they've all been chatting about. Yeah, they've been. Yeah, exactly.
Similar
And
model to him.
they think he's going to be the next superstar defender. That's why all these top teams. That's why Man United, PSG, Madrid, and Liverpool want him, because he's seen as that next big superstar. Now, I'm not saying, you bring him in and you let Virgil leave, but it does make sense that if Liverpool are looking at Virgil van Dijk, who's 33 years of age at the moment, I don't know what sort of contract Liverpool would want to give him. I have no idea about that. I don't think anyone does. But it would make sense going for a young superstar like this. If you say you give Virgil another 2 years on top of the year left he's already got, that's a 3-year deal, takes him to 36. If Liverpool can somehow beat Real Madrid to the signing of Yoro, let's just say this in a perfect world, then he would be 21 by the time Virgil leaves, and he'd have a couple of years at Liverpool breaking through, playing games, and then after that he'd probably be the lead centre-back with him, Konate, and whoever else is at Liverpool at the time. Do you think there is that's why Liverpool are looking at this kind of defender at the moment, K-Mac, and not moving away, because they do see him as the next superstar centre-back that can replace Virgil? And I know he's right-footed and not left-footed, but do you think that's the reason? Because Liverpool could have walked away by now and thought, Real Madrid are just going to nab him, so let's look on elsewhere. But they're not. So for me, there's a reason, because I think they don't want any old centre-back coming in and being Virgil's replacement eventually. They want the next Virgil, and they might see this guy as that.
Yeah. I mean, Scottish Bears actually just put a really good comment in there. The lad at Benfica, Andre Silva. We seem to be looking at young, talented centre-backs. So you've got Leny Yoro, you've got
Antonio Silva,
who we've looked at as well. And you've also got, is it Daniel Hyson at Juventus, who we've also looked at. And then you've also got Inacio, who's only 21. And then you've also got Pancho, who's 22. Like, we're looking at young, talented centre-backs. The fact that we're doing that means that we are looking to the future, and we are looking for a Virgil van Dijk, or even a Matip. Like, let's just say Matip, okay? We're looking at a Matip replacement, because we've got a 32-year-old, 33-year-old guy that's left the club on a free. We've now got space available. Okay, I understand the fact that Quansah came in, and that's amazing, and Quansah's done amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
And the way he was treated by Gareth Southgate for England is just shocking, by the way. Like, why on earth? Like, take him for that international if you're not going to play him? Like, he's not going to the tournaments. Should have brought him on for like 10 minutes. Anyway, that's a different rant. But we're obviously looking at these young, talented centre backs, and one of them is going to come in. We are going to sign a centre back, whether it's one of those.
No doubt.
Like, and they're going to be a Matip replacement, so they may well be third in the pecking order, fourth in the pecking order, but that's fine, because they have to play to get into the team. They're not just going to start. And that might be the reason why we are lowering the age down. That may be why we've gone from a 23-year-old to 22-year-old to an 18-year-old now, because they know that they have to play to get in the team, and they're not going to be a starter. And I think that's great.
Makes sense. It makes sense logically. It logically makes sense.
And by the way, we don't have a really, really talented young centre back, like younger than Quansah's age. We don't have
we have no one
like that.
apart
We've got
from
Nallo.
Quansah.
We've got Nallo, who's 16.
I think Quansah. Yeah. I mean, I look at this guy and I think what Liverpool are trying to do, and I know a lot of Liverpool fans didn't like this when it came out earlier, a couple of weeks ago, that Liverpool are looking for young players that can come into the team at a class level, because a lot of people want ready-made players. But the thing is, with the way football is now, with FFP and the Premier League rules, I don't think are going to change. I know people want them to change. I don't think they're going to. I think the Premier League are going to keep these rules for as long as they can. You've got to look into more profitable transfers and more sustainable transfers. And I know people don't like that word, but the fact of the matter is that's what everyone's doing right now. Every club this season will be a sell to buy football team. You've got no choice. You've literally got no choice. Aston Villa are letting their best midfielder leave to go to Juventus and buying Weston McKennie in an exchange. It's a terrible deal for Aston Villa's midfield next season is going to be Weston McKennie and the guy from Luton.
Yeah, because Boubacar Kamara is still injured.
Yeah, so that's their midfield next season, which is even worse than it was this season. But they've got no choice because of the PSR rules.
That's going to help us, by the way. That
because we ain't got any issues with that.
I think Edison might be signed soon.
Well, hopefully we'll get to that.
Because Timo Cooper-Mays won't be going to Juventus now because they're getting Douglas Luiz. So that's actually that can help us.
Yeah, big up Harry says Ian Dawes said no contact's been made. He's staying. Yeah, he's no contact been
supporter. Don't believe him.
No contact has been made with Liverpool. That's completely true, but it doesn't mean no contact has been made with Virgil himself. That's the difference. So, like, Ian Doyle can't speak for Virgil, but he can speak for the football club. If the football club tell him, well, nothing's come through on our end about Virgil, but Virgil could have been spoke to. That's where that's football. That's the problem with football today. Everyone taps up. And we can't sit here and be naive as supporters either. Virgil van Dijk is one of the greatest centre-backs on planet Earth, and he's got 1 year left on his contract. We can't sit here and be naive and think that no team has spoken to him on the phone or spoken to his agent when he's only got a year left on his deal and he's available. His wages are not massive at Liverpool, so it wouldn't be an issue for other teams. So we can't be naive for thinking Salah hasn't been spoke to by Trent with a year left in his contract. I'm sure clubs have spoken to Trent's agent about the availability of Trent, what's happening with his contract, the same with Virgil, the same with Mo. So they might have not gone to the club themselves, to Liverpool Football Club themselves, but agents will speak to other agents and there'll be contact there. There'll be contact there.
Oh, Jerry's just fired one out there.
Big up, Jerry. Jerry, how you doing? Well, Jerry. Man. It's been a while.
Yeah,
big up to you, man.
I take it.
How you doing, man? Hope you're doing good, man. Hope you're doing good. 120 million for VVD. Would you take it? Jesus Christ. A 33-year-old Virgil who's had a serious knee injury in the last 2 years back. It's on 200 grand a week, I believe. He needs a contract extension, which will probably take his contract closer to the 300 grand mark, you would have thought. 2 more years takes in the 36. Or you get 120 million for him now and buy 2 quality centre backs that set you up for the future.
Mate, I'll tell you what I'd be doing. I'd be using 70 million of that to go and get Jared Braithwaite from Everton.
You can get Yarrow and Braithwaite. There you go.
Yeah.
Get Yarrow and Braithwaite.
Braithwaite's a monster.
Go and get Braithwaite and Yarrow.
Yeah.
Or Silva from Benfica and Yarrow.
Yeah.
And replace him for Virgil. I mean, things can be done. Things can be done.
Silva's a Rolls Royce as well. Like, watch him play. But Braithwaite doesn't even have to move house.
My problem with, I've always said this, it's hard selling your best player because who you go get to replace him. Virgil could, there is a gamble. I know what Virgil can do. We all know what Virgil can do. So I'm happy keeping Virgil. But even buying Yoro and Silva and all these other defenders that are going to be future superstars, probably, it's still a gamble if they're ever going to be better than Virgil van Dijk.
Of course.
So it is a massive gamble. Jerry, you're a naughty boy. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, you joined just at the right time, mate.
We can't pay £300,000 a week for a 32-year-old, 250 week tops. Yeah, I'd say so, Tone. That's why I said, he's on 200 now. You're going to be looking towards 300. So halfway mark, 250. I would say that is probably what they go off for him, around that 250 mark. And I expect 2 years added to the year he's got left, give him a 3-year deal, takes him to around that 36 age mark. And then I think for Liverpool would be very happy to let Virgil leave for free at the age of 36 after that. And I would as well. Wouldn't bother me if Virgil left for free at the age of 35, 36.
No.
That would make sense. I would rather keep Virgil and buy the next young superstar defender to eventually replace Virgil. I think that's the most sensible thing to do. And I look at it and think that is what Liverpool are trying to do right now. And it came out. They're looking at these Euros and these centre-backs to come in. They're very aware. I think they're very aware that replacing Virgil's difficult. Replacing an Alisson is difficult. Replacing a Mo Salah is difficult. Because these sort of players, if you go for like for them 3 players, how much money is that? You're looking at ridiculous money, ain't you? So you've got to play the sensible game. I know people don't like the sustainable word, but I do feel like what we're seeing in the Premier League now is that it's all going to be sustainable transfers. It is going to be sell to buy for a lot of teams. And I think Liverpool need to go down that route on sustainable transfers because Euro, you get a Euro in, who's wanted by Real Madrid, who's wanted by Man United, who's wanted by PSG, wanted by Liverpool. You get him in, you give Van Dijk a 2-year extension to what he's got, so you give him 3 years, you give him a pay upgrade to 250, and you let Virgil be your number 1 centre-back for the next 3 years. You got Yoro coming through, can be Virgil's replacement. You got Konate still there, and you got Kwanzaa, and then you got Gomez in the background after Gomez stays. But there's your 4 centre backs, and then eventually, when it's time for Virgil to leave, one of them are going to step up to be Virgil's replacement, and then you go and buy another centre back, another young centre back, again for the next years to come. But they've got to be quality. I don't care about all this age range stuff. I know people moan about it, but if there's a quality player out there between like 18 and 21 or 22, and he's a quality footballer and he's got to do things, he's got to be special, go and buy him. I don't see a problem with it. They don't have to play straight away, but in a year or 2 time, we could have the next best person in that position in our team for the years to come. So I don't know how you feel about K-Mac, but I think that's the way we should go.
That's the thing about Liverpool fans as well, and I've criticised us for this in the past, is when we sign players, we automatically go, oh, so where do they go? Where do they play? And you're like, you've got a 25-man squad. Like, they don't have to play. Like, you don't have to buy players to play them. Like, you can buy players to loan them out, to play them in the future, to maybe loan them out to get their value up, and then you sell them on. You might buy players that you never ever play, and you know that they're never going to play for Liverpool, but it was a good deal, and you can get them a loan to a good club, and then you can use the name of Liverpool with them, and then sell them on for value. That's kind of what we've done with quite a few players. You've got Rhea Brewsters, you've got Dominic Solanke's, Nico Williams. We've made a lot of money off these guys, like, because we had them and then loaned them and then sold them. But you can have a squad of 25 players, and we could sign a few players this season, and they might only play 10, 15 games this season, like next season. That's fine. Like, you don't buy players to just put them straight into the first team. We need to have a squad. But we do need 2 proper players this window.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. Like,
Proper
I think football is coming to an end now where you almost have 2 players for each position.
Yeah.
Because I look at teams now that are looking for versatile footballers that can play multiple positions as cover. You know, you look at Man City, they don't always have, like, Alvarez wants to leave Man City because he's too good not to play football in his natural position week in, week out. That's why he's looking to leave Manchester City. It's very hard to go to players like Olise. I know a lot of Liverpool fans want Michael Olise, yeah? But how do you frame it to Olise that you're not going to play because Mo Salah's our right winger?
Well, no, he does play. He does play. He plays in Diaz's position, or he plays in the 10. He plays. Michael Olise plays, like, if he comes to Liverpool.
I don't think he plays, though. I honestly don't think he plays, because Luis Diaz ain't going nowhere, so he plays left wing, and Mo Salah will play right wing, in my opinion. And Darwin Nunes will be the main striker.
I don't think Luis Diaz is going to be at the club.
If Luis Diaz ain't going to be at the football club,
target now.
Yeah, if he ain't going to be at the football club, then you can maybe do something like that. But if we keep all our 5 forwards, selling that to Olise is difficult. I know a lot of other people keep telling me this, that, because I have had arguments on Twitter with people with this, where they go, "Well, Chelsea have got like 4 right wingers." Yeah, but none of them are Mo Salah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a concept that
he's not getting any younger, though, mate, and he does need to rest in games.
Then the problem is Olise's a first teamer. You know, he's a first team footballer. He's going to come in and play.
He's a first team footballer at Crystal Palace, mate. He's coming to Liverpool.
I just don't see how.
Like, he's coming to Liverpool, mate. We signed £85 million strikers and benched them for the last 10 games of the season.
Yeah, but that's because they're shit.
We can do that. I know, but
Olise's not shit. I mean, Darwin's shit, so he has to be dropped. But I just think, like, look, with Salah, I know people are so in and out.
He's still only 22 as well, by the way.
And that's what I'm saying. I just feel like if you've got a right winger like Mo Salah, who's, I just don't know if you need I personally think if Mo Salah can't play games, you just play Harvey Elliott or Luis Diaz over there.
But
I just don't think
Salah's
but how do you sell? Like, but neither did Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, you sell the Michael Olise dream to him by saying you're going to be Mo Salah's heir. Like, Jesus Christ! There's not many
don't think
players that are going to be put in that bracket.
I just
you literally say to Michael Olise, right, you're my guy to replace Mo Salah when he goes in 1 or 2 years.
Oh no! I can't have Olise Salah's replacement. I don't think Olise's all that, personally. I think he's a good player. Man. Just don't think he's all that. I think Eze's twice the player.
I honestly don't know what people need to be convinced on Michael Olise. Like, this guy is 15 goals, 15 assists in the Premier League.
But it's like Jerry says it
if
there.
He comes to Liverpool.
At his age, people are playing games regularly, like Cole Palmer and Saka, etc. That's the thing. Like, Cole Palmer wouldn't come to Liverpool because he wouldn't play games. That's why he left Man City in the first place.
Olise right wing, Salah in the 10. Jesus.
So if Liverpool do that, then I'm all right with it. It makes sense. But if Arne Slot,
not injury prone.
He's had
he's not injury prone.
He has had 2 bad. He has had 2 bad hamstring injuries this season.
Yeah, and the reason and Roy Hodgson got sacked because of that. Because he played him when the medical staff told him not to play him, and he ended up doing his hamstring again.
My worry about Olise is that I think he's had 3 hamstring injuries.
Russell's just said it. Russell's just said it in the chat. He was rushed back.
Yeah, he was rushed back, but
he was rushed back. He was rushed back against the medical staffs.
My worry is, though,
diagnosis.
Even if he was rushed back, which ruins players, by the way, he's had 3 hamstring injuries already at the age of 22. That is a concern, no doubt about it.
And he's played an insane amount of football as well, by the way.
Considering that considering how
He's
no
been
three
playing since he was
hamstring
17
injuries,
at Reading, by the way. Russell's put it in the chat.
and he's had
And
3
he's
hamstring.
literally got, like honestly, this guy.
I'm not buying a player that's had 3 hamstring
I
injuries
can't
at
speak
22.
any more highly of this guy. Like, he is just, he's the real deal. Like, if we got him and Leny Yoro, we basically got 2 of the best French players in the next 5 years.
I just don't see it.
We've got probably one of the best probably the best
I
centre
think
back for France.
I think Olise is going to
next 5
Chelsea
years.
because Olise Chelsea haven't got a right winger, so
They can't.
it
They
makes
can't
sense
afford
in
him,
that.
mate. He's got.
They're going to pay. They're going to pay
£60
over the odds,
million
aren't they?
release clause.
Yeah, and they're going to pay 80 million for the release clause. I bet you any money.
I think he's close to us, mate. By the way, I don't think we're giving up on this guy.
I just worry about a player who's 22 who's had 3 hamstring injuries. That just worries me. That just worries me.
The same
I ain't
season.
gonna lie.
In the same season.
No, he had 2 in one season and 1 before, didn't he?
No, it's just on transfer mark. That's not right. It's in the same season.
It just worries me. 22-year-old shouldn't be having hamstring injuries. So that just worries me. I just don't. You know, he's electric. He's quick. He's athletic. He likes to dribble. You know,
he scores.
Getting hamstring injuries.
10 goals in 16 games last season.
That's because he's allowed to, because he plays for Crystal Palace. I just don't like him.
I'm not going to be able to convince you, though. It doesn't matter.
No, I don't like him. I don't like him. I think he'll go somewhere and he won't. And he won't be the player everyone thinks he is. I mean, at his age, is he better than Cole Palmer? No. Is he better than Saka? No.
Yeah. He's better than Saka.
No, Saka's quality, mate. I love Saka.
Saka.
I just don't know. If Szoboszlai played in his right position, would we be having this conversation? Probably not.
We'd probably be getting 10 goals, 10 assists off him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm also saying,
well, he can. He can play on the left.
When I look at our squad, I don't think Olise's needed right now.
Well, we're looking at a Mo Salah replacement, aren't we? That's what we're looking at. This is being touted by everybody. We're looking at a right-sided attacker. Olise is a right-sided attacker.
I think he's in our squad already. I think Szoboszlai is Mo Salah's replacement.
I think he's left side.
Because I saw his goal for Hungary the other day off that right wing area when he's dribbling past people. And
then got slated for having a bad game. In the world he scored.
He looked great. I think Szoboszlai can take. This is the thing. Like, also, there ain't. It depends what you want as a backup player. I don't like the word backup player because a backup player means they're not good enough to take the place of the person who's playing in front, if that makes sense. And I think there's issues when you have.
I've got to jump, mate. I'll be back in 15 minutes if you're staying on, okay?
Yeah, go on then. Go on.
Sorry, I'll catch you later.
All right, see you.
Sorry, I've got a team meeting that I'm running.
Oh, go on, go and do your team meeting. I don't know, guys. I look at someone like Olise and I'm like, do we need Olise right now? I mean, if we buy him, the club must have different ideas. The club must just have different ideas. They must be thinking Mo Salah is going to go more central. If you're going to make Mo Salah more central for the rest of his career at Liverpool, then buying Olise in the right wing is fine. You know, that's fine to me. You know what I'm saying? Let's get Jerry as well. Let's get Jerry in here. It just, yeah. I sent you a link, Jerry. I like Olise. I just think he needs to play football, guys. You know, you look at people like Saka and Cole Palmer around that same age bracket, around 22. For me, Olise would want to play every week. He'd literally want to play every week. You look at Kudus, the age range, Cole Palmer, Saka's, they play every single week. And Olise's not going to play every single week if Salah's at the football club and he's still going to play right wing. I just don't. I think you need more versatile forwards, versatile players. So for me, if Luis Diaz is still at the football club, there's no reason why Luis Diaz can't play games at right wing. There's no reason why Harvey Elliott can't play games at right wing. You know, you don't need that. Oh, Salah's injured now. Let's bring Olise in for about 8 weeks. And then when Salah's back, Olise goes out of the team. It just that makes no sense to me at all. At all. Let's bring Jerry in here as well. You got Jerry, been a while, man.
What's going on? What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Just been living, man.
Living life.
Exactly.
Your voice sounds so much different on audio.
You think?
Yeah.
Clearer. They sound clearer.
Yeah, you sound much clearer on audio than you did before.
Yeah, also.
Big up to everyone in the chat as well. But what do you think of this Olise thing? I think you said it as well. 22-year-old needs to play every week, don't they? Like Palmer, and all these players you see at the moment. And how do you sell Olise to Liverpool saying, right, you're going to be Salah's backup? I don't think it works.
You can't, because you're not a Real Madrid, unfortunately. You're not in a situation where the name of Liverpool, it resides and has the same impact on pretty much any player. Like Real Madrid is a global institution. Liverpool is, but to a much lesser extent. The idea for players, if they don't come from the UK to say they played for Liverpool, is the equivalent of me saying to you, Jamie, yeah, mate, you played for Napoli, or you played for AC Milan. It's great, it's good, but the idea that you could, at the end of your career, say I played for Real Madrid is a different kettle of fish. And I think, and Olise, if you look at the teams that are being linked with him, the reason why I think these teams have put in formal bids, Newcastle and Chelsea, is because they're looking at Olise's representatives are going to look at this situation and say, yeah, we want him to play games. We want him to be in the France squad. He's not going to get in the France squad if he's Salah's backup. It's just not going to happen unless Liverpool gave him reassurances and said, actually, Salah's not going to play that much. You're going to be the main guy. And we're phasing Salah out. In that case, great, you can go and do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't see how that works. Even the Euro situation, if we're spending 45-50 million on a centre back, what Konate? And cool, you've got Konate still here. You've still got Gomez. You've got Kwanzaa as well. What happens to Kwanzaa then?
I think Gomez leaves this summer, personally.
Yeah.
I think Gomez leaves. And if, like with Yoro, I think the centre-back thing's maybe a little different, because there's 2 positions to play in there where you could squeeze yourself in. Like we've seen Kwanzaa this season take Konate's spot, like literally took Konate's spot. You know, and with Salah, it's a weird one, because I think we're coming to the end of where we have 2 players for each position almost in teams now. And I think teams are looking for more versatile players that can play multiple positions. You know, like Alvarez wants to leave Man City. Like, why would you want to leave Man City? He wants to leave Man City because he's not playing in his rightful position where he knows he can be better. And he could go elsewhere. Like, he could go to Chelsea tomorrow and be their number 1 striker for the next 5 years. No problem.
Definitely.
But he's not going to do that at City, because that Haaland plays, and he doesn't want to be this backup or play a position that doesn't really suit him and they're not benefiting his game. So I do think we're coming to the end of this, I think defensive wise, you need maybe 4 fullbacks, 2 for each position, and 4 centre backs. But through the midfield and the attack, because of the way football is more fluid now and the way people play and the formations people play, you don't need, if you're playing a front 3, you can either play with your wide forwards, stay wide and take their man on from the outside, or they cut inside and almost comes inside forwards. So you can swap players around in that play position and more versatile. No, Luis Diaz can play right wing for a few games. There's no problem with that, in my opinion. You know, Gakpo can then go to left wing if Salah's out, and then when Salah comes back, he plays. Or if Liverpool are going, right, we're going to do this differently now, and we feel like Salah can be a 10 or a 9 in the future, and that's where he's going to play from there on, and we play Olise on the right and we sell him that, then I'm fine with it. I just don't see how we really sell it to Olise that you're going to be, we want you at the football club, but Mo's there still. And if Mo's there, look, he's our first choice player because it's Mo Salah. But you could fight your way in, and if you can fight your way in and make that your own, then that's what we'll do. But you look at Chelsea, and Chelsea have got a right wing opening. You look at Newcastle, they got a right wing opening where Olise could just really go and play from day one, can't he?
I think
if you're Olise, it looks as big as Liverpool are. You've got to be aware that Mo Salah's still at that football club. But when you look at Chelsea and Newcastle, you go like, I can play from day one there, and that's my position.
Exactly. And and even if you can't play from day one, as a player, you want to go to somewhere where you've got reassurances you can compete. So, when you look at the drop off between, this is an example. Right, you have McAllister in there, and then obviously you have Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, McAllister. Of course, you may have your preferred starting lineup, but there isn't a drop off where any player on any given day can have a great performance, and there's an argument to say they should start the next game because they've earned their place in the lineup. The same as Kwanzaa and Konate last season. Their levels weren't too dissimilar in terms of what they provided. So you could easily go and make a case for, all right, I want Kwanzaa to start, or you could have Konate to start. You could do whatever, right? When it comes to Salah, and you have certain players that, you have Salah, you have Kevin De Bruyne, you might have Ronaldo, Messi when you're still playing. These players are so good. They're so influential. Like even like an Mbappe, where unfortunately, unless they're on the way out, they're starting every single game, and there's no way in for you there. It's like Heung-min Son or Harry Kane when he was at Spurs. It didn't matter where Spurs were; they couldn't go and get a striker to go and be backup.
No,
they struggled. They struggled. They couldn't, whether it was Soldado, whether it was Victor Janssen. They just couldn't go and attract anyone because everyone could see, well, I'm not going to play. But in other areas of the pitch, for example, you might have, let's say Liverpool were to bring in another left back, right? You'd hope that left back might be on a similar level to Robertson, where they can compete for that position. And what you want ideally is, if you've got two players for a position, is that either one on their day could be the one you want to start with until they kind of create some separation. Salah's separated from anyone that's out there. So it's very difficult, unless you move him on, to go and attract a player to want to go and play on that right-hand side. We haven't signed a right-hand sided player for how long? Every forward's been on the left or down the centre.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I'm with you. Like Bruno saying here, 5 attackers isn't enough. For me, it's probably too many. And AFCON's now not till 2026, if I remember heard correctly. So yeah, we ain't got to worry about
I don't think
for a while now.
I don't think it's feasible to have 6 attackers. Like having 6 attackers means that your 6th option is going to have to be garbage. Your 6th option is going to have to be Shea Adams, maybe from Southampton.
You can't have 3 on the bench, can you?
Exactly. So, I mean, you can do, but one of them's not going to get a game because
then it limits your options for a midfielder or a defender as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a situation where, look, you can have that 6th option is always going to be an academy player. It's going to be someone that, doesn't really get games. If you go and look at Man City, maybe even 4 years ago, they had obviously Sterling, Sane, Mahrez, Aguero out wide. And then who else did they have? They had Brahim Diaz.
Yeah.
Did he get a game for City? No. Like, this is what I'm saying. But for all intents and purposes, he's their 6th choice. Liverpool had Ben Doak as that 6th player.
Yeah.
Liverpool had Ben Doak as that 6th player. So
I think the 6th player should be the youth player. That'd be that's fine. Maybe you can upgrade on one of the 5. Don't get me wrong. You know, you can up.
Oh no,
You know,
no,
you can up.
that's a different question. If you're talking about upgrading, that's different. But I
Yeah.
don't think you can stockpile and have what seven
No.
forwards, including like a Doak and a
It-
Dans. Like,
And look, I know everyone's got PTSD because of the injuries Liverpool have had the last few years, and I get it, and that is why. But I think that will change in the next year or two with the new personnel at the team. You know, it's going to be, you know, we're going to have different doctors, physios, different way of coaching and playing. So I do think injuries will be a lot different. Not next season, maybe, but the season after, definitely. You know, but I get everyone's problem with injuries. I do, but I've got 5 forwards in my team. They all got double figures last year. So, you know, how many five forwards in a team get double figures in most teams? That's really good. That's really good. So I like Cody Gakpo as well. I think a player like Cody Gakpo didn't play his natural position for enough games last season. And when he did, he looked all right. He looked good to me. Diaz is the one, Jerry, ain't it? Like, I think out of all the forwards, personally, I think Jota and Diaz are the 2 forwards that could leave this summer. If there going to be anyone leaving. So I think Mo will stay. With Diaz, financially, it's what, you know, Liverpool value him around that 70 million mark. It's if teams can afford to buy him. And then Jota, I think if an offer came in for Jota, Liverpool wouldn't stand in Jota's way. And I think the only reason they'd let Jota go is because of his injury issues. What do you reckon, man?
yeah, I think I can understand that thought process. I mean, those 2 players wouldn't be the number one on the spot in terms of getting rid of a player. If it was for me, I think the man that needs to go is the man that's donning the number 9 shirt at the moment. And
yeah, don't mention his name.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's the one that for me,
he's
at
the one.
The age of 25, still hasn't got the fundamentals down to a T, and like I don't know. You know, when you talk about like can players improve and all of this stuff, right? I don't look at Gakpo or Diaz or Jota and look at, look, they can still improve in terms of like their ability. They need to just become a bit more consistent.
Yeah.
Because when Diaz is on form, Diaz, everything's coming off. You see what he's doing for Colombia. We've seen it ourselves in the Liverpool top when he's on form. Jota, the same thing. Gakpo, the same thing as well, especially when he came in that January a couple of seasons ago now. Nunes is the one we're saying he needs to improve. Like his striking, his technique needs to improve. His touch needs to improve. Now, if we're waiting for a 25-year-old male to improve when it comes to in football, then Goat's got plenty of time then at Liverpool. Why did we get rid of Brewster? They could all just improve.
Yeah, it's true.
Consistency is the one where I get it. Like, if you're thinking this player, he's a good player, but, you know, he's not consistent, yeah, we can move him on. But he's not the one. Like, these players don't necessarily need to improve. I don't look at, like, Diaz's control. I'm like, oh, my God, you can't do a kick-up. Whereas at times, I looked at Nunes, I'm like, I don't know if you can do this kick-up. I'm not sure. And that's, for me, that's when I look at it and I'm like, oh, like, I get it. Diaz will probably get you the most money. You could probably shift him the most because, again, he's a player that can probably fit. Like, him and Jota are players that can fit a lot of teams and just do really well.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Diaz left, went to Barcelona, and we're all raving about him again. And we're like, what have we done? Why have we let him go? Or Jota, him go and he goes to Juventus and he's a madman and scores loads of goals. Like, these players, I think they've got that. I don't see that with Nunes in it. And I think that's the difficulty. I think if Liverpool, if they looked at it, if there was a situation where someone came in and said, look, we'll take Nunes off your hands for 60 million, I think they cash in just like that. I think they cash in like that, but there aren't any suitors that I'll be willing to pay that. Whereas I think with Diaz, I think with Jota, I think you might get a bit more money for them. So I fully hear what you're saying. But...
yeah, and especially like with Jota, I think Jota could fit into a lot of teams in Europe.
Yeah, cool.
You know,
he scores goals, isn't it? He scores goals.
Look, if he stays next season, he starts fit. He's my starting number 9. You know, no doubt about it. You know, he links play better than Darwin, holds the ball up better than Darwin. He's better in the air than Darwin, considering he's a lot shorter. And he is a better finisher. You know, this is not an insult to say. He just is. And I believe his goal to game ratio and the amount of chances he has, I believe he's, without penalties, I was reading, is one of the best in the league. Full stop. So, you know, he's look. I've said this all season. If Cody Gakpo had the amount of chances in front of goal that Darwin had this season, he'd have more goals than Darwin. And I don't think that's a bad shout to say, because I think Cody Gakpo only was 3 or 4 goals out from Darwin this season, playing less games. So, yeah, Cody's a decent player, man. I like Cody. I just don't think... I think even Klopp said it himself last season that he didn't use Cody well last season, played him too many multiple positions that didn't really suit his game. And, you know, he's a left winger by trade, and that's where he plays less of his games. It's quite a mad thing. But I think Cody's got to have a good year next year. I really do, especially under a Dutch manager.
Yeah, I think a player that's going to actually have a good. I think Diaz is one that will actually have a really, really good season. Reason I say that is because he's the one playing our. Because he's the one, exactly. He's the one player in our team that can take on a man and can beat a man.
Yeah.
He's the one player that can consistently, if I had to put my money on it in the squad, who can go and beat their fullback, it's gonna be Diaz. Now going in, we've seen it with even like a Sterling, and if you can create a system where a player just has to beat their fullback and play a ball into a certain area and just expect runners in there, you can create a system where someone just his assist just might skyrocket up, because there's a system where every time he plays that pass, there's a player arriving there. You saw it with Sane and Sterling. You saw it when square across the box, who's there? Back post Sterling. And Sterling's not the best finisher, but they created a system in which enabled him to get into those positions. Diaz is the one player that can beat his man, and from what I hear, we still haven't heard from the guy, so I don't even know if the guy exists. I've only seen images of him. But Arne Slot likes his fullbacks to be able to. He likes to isolate his fullbacks 1v1, and if you like to go and do that, unfortunately, you need players that are going to go and do that. And now there aren't a lot of players in today's football that are really, really good at beating their fullbacks 1v1. Hence why City went and got a Doku, and Grealish is not playing, and things like that. So that's something to consider. But yeah, it will be interesting pre-season to see how things play out.
You know, because Slot does like his wingers to play almost like way Pep plays with his wingers, isolating fullbacks, keeping the possession out wide, you know, and that sort of thing. And I don't think he really looks at his wingers like Klopp looked for his wingers to get GA. That was the whole point of Klopp's forward three was, you know, defend from the front, cause mayhem, get goals and assists. I don't think Slot is quite like that with his wingers, which for me, I think Luis Diaz would suit a Arne Slot system a little bit more than he did the Jurgen Klopp system, because, you know, Luis Diaz always cutting inside constantly and slowing it down and cutting inside was obviously an instruction what to do, because when you see him at Porto or Colombia, he goes on the outside a heck of a lot, and then he can cut in and do things. But yeah, I think under Arne Slot, I've said I'm not Diaz's biggest fan. I don't think he does enough in front of goal and enough creativity for my liking, especially in the attacking team that we are. But under Arne Slot, I think he's got a chance to be maybe a little bit different. So I'm willing to give Diaz, as you say, he can take players on and can be effective. It's the Salah thing, the Olise thing. A lot of Liverpool fans are upset that we're not going after Olise. We're not in that category. I just don't think he's needed. I just don't think he's absolutely needed. Look, if Chelsea had Mohamed Salah as their right winger, I don't think they'd be going after Olise. Because if Newcastle had Mo Salah as their right winger, they wouldn't be going after Olise for me. It's just they got openings in their team where Olise could fit in. It's as simple as that. Man United, look, Olise or Anthony. It's not, you know, Man United could need a right winger. And also, I've got this thing. I don't know how good. Look, I'm the only one who says it. I just don't know how good Olise actually is. I really don't know if he's at
In
that
what
level.
regard? What do you mean by that? What are you not convinced about when it comes to him? I'm just intrigued to hear.
I have seen a lot of very talented players extremely good at smaller teams because they're allowed to flourish at smaller teams, if that makes sense. And then when they get the opportunity to go to a bigger side, because the work at a bigger side is completely different, ain't it? You go to more of a systematic approach as you go to bigger teams nowadays. I don't know if he's going to be at that level. I just feel like, I don't know what it is. I feel like at least they should stay at Crystal Palace, where he's flourishing and playing extremely well. And I think Palace could be dark horses for a European spot next season. So I don't think there's a rush for him. I think he's still got a lot of game to learn as well. And I think sometimes young players move too quickly. Look, Cole Palmer, I know, went from City to Chelsea and he flourished. And he had a really good year, Cole Palmer. There's no doubt about that. But let's see what Cole Palmer's like next year when everyone knows about him and doubles up on him and stuff like that. Let's see what Cole Palmer's like next season. So, yeah, I just got my concerns about Olise.
Yeah, would you not say with Olise, though, that the one thing that's the benefit to him is that the system wasn't built around Olise. So if you compare it to another Crystal Palace player, right, like Zaha when he was at Crystal Palace, when United bought him and it kind of didn't work out, everything was to do with Zaha. It was give the ball to Zaha, isolate Zaha. We're going to be, but everything, Zaha just go do whatever you want to just affect the game for us. I think with Olise, it's very, very different because I don't think he has those. He's not the most rapid player. I mean, he's quick, but he's not Zaha explosive. He's not someone that's going to make runs in behind off the ball. He's someone that comes to the ball a lot. And I think in that regard, the likes of Eze, you're seeing with Wharton, we're seeing with Olise, they actually have had to go and play in a system because they've got other players that go and do that for them or had that in the past. So when they had, obviously, Zaha before, Eze was facilitating Zaha. Eze now has had to obviously take on a different role since Zaha left, but it's more within a system as opposed to our whole team is rubbish. Eze just float around in his free role and do whatever you want. It's much more structured, and I think that might help him. I think Anthony Gordon was in a similar situation where even at Everton, it wasn't like play any way you want, do whatever you want, like Grealish was at Aston Villa. It was very much like, you're on the right wing, we're going to need you to do this, and this is your role. And I think when he's gone to Newcastle, you've seen how well it's worked. And look, I think if he goes to Newcastle, I think that's going to be a really, really good line. Isak, Gordon, Olise.
Yeah, I think Olise suits Newcastle right now in his career. You know, under Eddie Howe, young manager. You know, Anthony Gordon on the left, as Isak through the middle. I think that's a great opportunity for Olise. I really do. And I think Olise is a very good footballer. I'm just not, I don't know if he's ready for Liverpool yet. That's just my personal.
That's fair.
My personal thing. I think he's a talent. I mean, I said it earlier the other day on my show that, you know, players like Olise and all that, I'm a bit of a football romantic, and I like sometimes these players staying at the club they're at where they're flourishing and making themselves superstars. And, you know, they're so young. They've got years left to get their big move and enjoy your football. You're playing every week. You're a superstar at that club. You're shining bright. You know, what's the hurry? You know, that's just me on a personal point of view, you know, as a big football romantic like that. But I get why players want to move now because the money's ludicrous.
Even for me, when I think about it, if you're getting an Olise, Elliot, see you later.
I love Elliot.
Area.
Yeah, I love Elliot.
And that's what it will be. It's like, well, Elliot's not a guaranteed. If you pick your starting lineup, you may put Elliot in there. Some people may do, but in terms of names, he's not the name that goes straight into the team sheet. If Olise comes in, where's Elliot going to play? If you're not getting rid of someone, if you're getting rid of Salah and you're playing fair, but if you're not, then all you've got again is, as people are saying, a backup to Salah, but someone that can also play in a midfield attacking kind of role, which is what Elliot's job is. And you've got to kind of make a decision at that point. Do you go and play Olise or do you play Elliot? Because look, they're both on the same level in terms of they both play for the respective under-21 teams. Elliott doesn't play for Crystal Palace, so he can't play week in, week out. Olise does. If Olise was in Elliott's position, he'd probably get the same amount of minutes as Elliott.
Yeah.
So.
And I love Harvey. I think's a superb talent who's only getting, like, if you look at Harvey's stats, and he's got better every year. Like, as a player, he's getting better every year. I personally think Harvey Elliott was Liverpool's second best midfielder last season, personally. And there's something about Harvey as well. I know he's not quick, but he's technically a good footballer. He keeps the ball well. He's actually a good passer of the football. When he gets on that right side of the pitch, he's actually got a good cross on him, and he's actually got a good final ball. And we know he has got a shot on him now that he's getting better with. I just feel Harvey Elliott will suit an Arne Slot team a lot more than a Klopp team, because Arne Slot's going to be a bit slower in his approach, not so gun-ho, and more possession-based in a forward sense. And I think that will suit Harvey Elliott. I really do. I think Harvey Elliott might be a real superstar next season for Liverpool. I really do, I think. But I get what you're saying, like, because Olise plays every week and he's the superstar for Palace, he's going to want to be playing every week for the team that he goes to. If Harvey Elliott was a bit part player at a club and comes to another club to be a bit part player, that's absolutely fine, ain't it? That's what you're buying. So with Harvey, look, the mad thing is, we was after Olise when he was at Reading, but we picked Harvey Elliott instead from Fulham. So the choice was Harvey Elliott. Yeah, we was after Olise when he was at Reading, but we chose Harvey Elliott from Fulham instead. Yeah, because Harvey was playing Premier League games at 16, and Liverpool saw a bright future with him. And look, I say they were wrong?
I don't see this Liverpool. Yeah, I don't see this Liverpool Olise thing. I actually don't see it. I like the player a lot. I like him. Like, in an ideal world, if this was FIFA, I'd be like, yeah, get him. He'll be good. He's gonna get to 90 rated. Do you know what I mean? In like a couple of seasons, but I just don't see it. I just think, I just think it's we're not the club. Obviously, opportunity is as much an important factor in football than what's it called? Obviously, you working hard and getting a move. And I think the opportunity for him right now, Salah's here. If Liverpool get rid of Salah, changes the dynamic completely, innit?
I'm fine getting someone like Olise in if Salah's leaving the football club. So, but by the sounds of it, what's coming out of Liverpool and Mo Salah at the moment, the guy actually don't want to leave. So, if the guy don't want to leave, Liverpool got to look to putting his contract down and keeping him in the next few years. Because the funny thing about Mo, I know a lot of people say his performances are sometimes really dog, and they are. There's no doubt about it. But out of all our forwards at the moment, Mo's the one who can win us a game. And that has been there since the day he signed. Even last season, what was he? 4th top goal scorer in the Premier League last year, having 3 months injured, playing right wing. He's not, I know a lot of people think he's finished, but he obviously ain't. It's just, he had that, he went to AFCON in January, got injured at AFCON, came back, got re-injured because we brought him back too quickly, because that's what Liverpool do. And he got re-injured, and he never really found his form again till towards the end of the season when he started to look a bit sharp. He's going to have the summer pretty much off. I know he's playing a few internationals with Egypt, then I think he's got the summer off. He'll go back to pre-season probably a bit earlier than he usually does. He's got no AFCON in January. There's no reason why I don't believe, Jerry, that Mo can't get that 20 goals again next season, personally. I don't know how you feel about it.
It can do. It just depends on, again, I don't know the manager, innit? I really don't know the manager, so I don't know what his
very similar
his plans are. I don't know.
Yeah,
but if he's similar to Klopp, then obviously, well, look, what I mean by that, I don't know what his plans are for certain players in their roles. So if, for instance, Slot's going to go and just essentially replicate what he's done at Feyenoord because he trusts it and just do that at Liverpool, and that's going to be what he does for the first season, Salah's going to have to, if Salah can't beat his man, then Salah's not going to be the guy to go and play out there.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't got that in his locker anymore. Now, of course,
No.
you can go and play him in a different position, maybe play him in the 10, maybe he plays here. There's loads of different, obviously, solutions to that. Probably get rid of him if you didn't want to. But what I'm saying is, great example, it's like if we brought in a manager that wanted a target man back when we had Bobby Firmino, like Bobby Firmino can't play as a target man because he's not going to flick on the ball. You need to get an Andy Carroll type of striker. You might need to get a Drogba. So I don't know what Slot's going to do and whether he's going to look at what he's got and say, actually, I want to keep these players and I'm going to try and do something different. Or is he going to go back to what he feels is tried and tested and say to himself, actually, you know what, nah, I want my fullbacks high and wide, don't get involved in play. Because if that's the case, we're going to be complaining about Salah again, because when Klopp tried to do that 2 seasons ago when we were terrible in that Nike kit.
When we tried to get make the team around Darwin, weren't it?
Around Darwin, yeah, and exactly. And Salah was really wide.
That's not his game, though, is it? It's not Mo's game.
Diaz was all right. Diaz was all right in that season. That's not Salah's game, and Salah was struggling. So if Slot wants that from his fullbacks, and that's his system, again, the system's more important than an individual player. So if the player doesn't fit your system, it don't matter who it is. And of course, you want to try and fit your best players into a system. But again, I don't know how malleable this manager is. To be fair, I don't know jack about him. All I've seen is that one meme of him doing like an OK, like kind of fit symbol.
Have you gone and watched some of his Agsy Alkmaar and Feyenoord games?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen Jack.
Go and watch. Go and watch some, man. Jack. You'll be pleasantly shocked. He's a really good coach by the look of it. Honestly, he looks like a proper good coach. The thing with Mo, if Mo played for Feyenoord, Slot would play him right wing but he'd get him more inside, closer to the goal, in my opinion. So, I think there's ways that managers play, but if they got a certain player in their team, that certain player does what he wants. I think it's intriguing. I think we need to get Mo more in front of goal, as wider, as you say, Jerry. You need him in front of goal. That's where Mo's dangerous. He can score goals, and his creativity on that final ball is the best in our squad, apart from Trent. So you want him more central for that, get him around that inside forward area. To do that, though, for me, you need a right back who's going to go up and down. And that brings me, guys, to the right back situation where
I came just in time.
Yeah. Do you go with Connor Bradley at right back next season? Obviously got injured, unfortunately, but before that, I thought he looked really good. He's more of that up and down right back in the sense that Trent used to be. Obviously, he hasn't got the final ball with Trent, because who has really? But he carried the wick for a lot more. And when he was playing there, Mo was actually tucking in a little bit more, and it was allowing a fullback to actually overlap Mo, which you don't see so much in the last year or so, because Trent's inverted, and that leaves Mo. And I don't know about you guys, I think Trent inverting didn't help Mo's game either, because it means he was crowded out a lot more with less space on the pitch. Yeah. So obviously, I'll go to you first, K-Mac. Trent's going to play midfield for England by the look of it. He's got the number 8 shirt. I think all the rumours coming out right now that he's going to be in a double pivot with Declan Rice for England, with Bellingham in the 10. Do you think Liverpool going to be looking at that and seriously wondering, like, we've got this Connor Bradley now. He could be our right back. Again, looked excellent for Northern Ireland in midweek. Do you think Liverpool might be looking at that? Is that the way Liverpool might be starting to think about Trent in this midfield position?
The club rate Connor Bradley so highly, like they really do, and he's not really let us down. Like, he's come straight in, hit the ground running. I think he's really good going forward. Like, just look at the Ireland game. He scored 2 goals because he broke into the box. Like, that's exactly what you want from a wide attacking player. The interesting thing is, could Bradley play the winger? That's the interesting thing. Could Bradley even play the winger role? Like,
a couple of times there, didn't he?
Last season. I think he scored 8 goals when he went to Bolton, and he played a lot higher. There's an option there. And And we are looking at Gertrude, by the way, like he's a right back, and we're also looking at Frimpong, by the way.
Mm.
You know, we are linked with right backs as well.
Mm.
Trent's just an awkward conversation. Like it really is, because I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that meeting with the manager and Trent, like for the first time. And if he plays as a in the double pivot as a midfielder for England, the whole Euros, and we go and win it, that's a conversation to have in it. It's like, okay, well, you're going to be our midfielder then. You're certainly not going to play as a right back if you've just won the Euros in midfield. It's a real interesting conversation. I mean, someone's just wrote in the chat, like Gertrude was Slot's general. Like Gertrude,
Yeah.
like Gertrude scored 24 goals as a right back. like you know, it's an interesting conversation to have. I'd like to hear what Jerry's got to say on that as well, because I don't know whether he's good enough to be a midfielder for us, but he's certainly doing okay for England.
Yeah, it's this Trent thing, Jerry. It's a weird conversation because now a few years back at right back, you'd never thought about anything else. That's where Trent plays, and obviously the last couple of years he's been exposed in that area, mainly because we can't play the way we used to play because the midfield is not the same anymore. A lot of people think Trent's outgrown the right back area because he does like to get forward a lot more than he ever used to. What do you do with Trent, Jerry? Do you keep him as a right back and you stop the inverted stuff and you go, right, you're going back to the way you used to play, up and down the pitch, overlapping Mo, getting in them wide right areas where we can get you the ball, where you got a bit more freedom to do what you want? Or do you seriously look at this midfield situation, Jerry? What do you reckon, man?
I think Trent has become too influential as a player, and not necessarily in a bad way, but he's so influential now in terms of it's not just I think it's quite lazy just to think all Trent does is just like a cross. It's from the center of the pitch. It's the incisive passing, like into feet. Like if you go and look at, I think, was it Saka's goal? Was it against Macedonia? I think he zipped it into Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer's controlled it. Like that pass. Liverpool don't have that, and similarly, England don't have that in the team.
No.
To have someone play at right back there, yes, he can perform at right back and do well if there's a system created for him to be this offensive juggernaut where he's got cover around him and stuff. But if you want him to play as this out-and-out fullback like a Gertrude, like Conor Bradley did on the back of the last season, like Walker has done throughout his career up until kind of recently when he comes a bit more inverted, you're going to struggle because that's not his game. Bear in mind, Trent only started to really take off is when Klopp actually kind of created the attacking fullbacks. And how many times did we see Robertson pressing the keeper? You had Trent really high, and they were the ones that were getting all the assists. And essentially what you had is your fullbacks did come inside. Well, your fullbacks were your midfielders who were basically outside and covered out wide.
Yeah.
Because again, positionally it was all the same. Trent evolved from that. Like, cool, you can do that, but just we've criticized Trent before for just spamming crosses in when he's been in that position where he just starts getting the ball, and all he can do when he's out wide is either play it back to Henderson, and Henderson plays that first time ball over the top, or he just smashed it across the box. You just kept smashing crosses in. Now, of course, he's got ability, so one of them will go through. But I think, look, put it this way: this is what will happen. I personally feel he's going to have a good tournament, irrespective of what England do. I think he's going to have a really good tournament. And he comes in and he goes and says, look, hi, Slot, this is where I see my career going. Like, I've done what I've had to go and do. I've proven I can do it at the highest level. This is where I want to, like, look, I'll still play anywhere for Liverpool, but this is where I want to play. If he has a good tournament, though, Liverpool have got to be very careful because Real Madrid are a team that's going to be sniffing around. And even if they decided to go and play him as a fullback, right? That fullback role isn't going to be what Danny Carvajal does. It's going to be more what Camavinga was doing, where he's coming inside and doing always the madness, because you have to try and make him influential. And again, it's Real Madrid, so it's a bit different. Where he sees himself is going to really dictate where this goes and how well this tournament goes. Again, if he has a terrible time in midfield, which we haven't seen as of yet, we haven't seen him have a terrible time in midfield.
No.
If he has a terrible time, then again, that poses a different question. But I think he's going to have a decent tournament. And then from that perspective, is that you look at Liverpool's midfield, why should Jones play ahead of him? Why should Gravenberch play ahead of him in that position?
Well,
Why
no
should
one
this
does.
person play ahead of him in that position?
No one.
Especially if the narrative is that we want to go and have this out and out traditional right back, which we know Trent isn't, because from the beginning he hasn't been that. He's never been a traditional right back. He was a midfielder that played right back because Klein was injured. He's never been a traditional right back. Klopp looked at it with Pep Linders in pre-season after he made his debut that season and said, how can we go and what system? We're going to have these attacking fullbacks. And that's where it started. That's when we saw the best of Robertson. Before that, it was Moreno playing at left back for like the first part of the season.
Yeah.
So it's Trent is too influential to not have on the pitch. Now, where you play him, it really doesn't matter. But you have to give him the license to go and find space. And if you're going to go and do that, what you've got to think about is, all right, where would we rather that happen? Would we rather do that in midfield where he can float around and pick up other sides? Or do you want him at right back, but then realizing and understanding that he might pop up on the left because you're going to go and spray a pass to Salah? But it means if we lose the ball, there's no one at right back position. And that's the kind of conundrum you've got. It's like you can play him there, but what I mean, you've got to just take the negatives that come with it. You just have to. You just have to take the negatives. And I think what Southgate's going to do is kind of give the blueprint as to where I think Trent's career is going to go, because I can't see him playing in midfield for England doing well, and then coming back and being told to just run up and down the wing like a dog and just whip balls into the box, like what Gary Neville did. Like it's not going to happen.
He's got so much. The mad thing about Trent is he's super talented, and you know, Trent at his best is a world-class footballer, in my opinion. And you got that much talent, and it's an issue with him because of obviously his defensive abilities. But I look at Trent. If you put Trent in our midfield, for me, Trent's one of the only players in our team, or the only player that has got a pass that can counter an opposition's press. You know, he's got that in his locker. And I also think, I don't know about you guys, but I also think the old-fashioned defensive midfielder is slowly going out of the game. You know, the old-fashioned destroyer, and that's all they do. It's like a lot of teams now getting like deep lining playmakers.
Well, it's like the old-fashioned centre backs going out the game as well.
Yeah. It's like everyone's got to play ball now. Like everyone's got to be tactically good and play football. You know, like this old centre back, this old DM, you know, just destroyer, and then they're limited on the ball, but no one gets past them in that DM position because they're a monster. It's almost going out of the game. You know, like you look at Declan Rice. Declan Rice is not a DM. It's a box-to-box midfielder, but he's very good.
He's really good box-to-box.
He's very, very good at all traits of the game in midfield. So everyone thinks he's a DM when he's really not. No. I don't know how you came back, but I think that's
what I think it is, though.
Go on.
You know what I think it is, though. I don't even think it's going out of the game. I think what it is you can't. You know, if something's done so many times, it's very easy to kind of just mark players out of that position. So, like back in the day, you might have had like Busquets, right? That just goes and just sits in that hole, and all he does is get the ball. And he's not a destroyer, but in terms of just playing on the ball in that position. Yeah. After a while, what teams used to do, and you saw it with Germany against like Spain and all these players, even like
someone there.
They sit someone on him and just disrupt everything that he's trying to go and do. So what you need now is obviously rotations. You need to be a bit creative about how you go and get into these spaces. I think Declan Rice is a defensive midfielder. I think, he's got legs on him, but Vieira had legs on him, but was a bit more, do you know what I mean? It was just kind of like, I don't think that's changed too much from football. All it is that next to these guys. Of course, Busquets was unreal on the ball. Rodri's unreal on the ball. But a lot of the times, those players are going to need someone next to them that can go and play passes.
Yeah.
So even Busquets had a Xavi next to him, and Xavi was the deeper out of him and Iniesta. And if you looked at it and you done this freeze frame, it would look like a double pivot. You had Busquets that was a bit deeper, you had Xavi a bit ahead of him, and you had Iniesta that was kind of floating around in the pockets. Where Trent's going to play is in that Xavi position where you got Declan Rice a bit deeper, but they'll just be rotating amongst each other. And Declan Rice isn't the person to go and find the pass, but he can do that.
Mm.
But Declan Rice is still the enforcer in there. And I think that's what you're looking at. If you go back to even Chelsea back in the day, they would have like, I don't know, man. They might go and have, let's use as an example.
Makelele.
Like they might have Michael Essien. They'll have Michael Essien, Lampard in the 10, and who else would be the midfielder?
Yeah. They'd have a ball playing midfielder next to him, wouldn't they?
Exactly, whoever, exactly. And the other person would be the one to play. And if you go look at like Italy when they won the Euros, right? With Pirlo and stuff. Oh, did they win the it was. You had De Rossi, who was the defensive midfielder. You had Pirlo, the one that plays the passes, and you had the more advanced one, which was whoever you wanted in that position, because they kept rotating. That's always, but you need the different dynamic in there. And I think that's why Trent's playing in midfield for England. If we look at that, he's the one that can go and find the passing. Trent's never going to be the enforcer, like in the same way Pirlo was never an enforcer. Like imagine you stuck Pirlo like on a defensive transition is not helping you at all. But you have him in a team because of what he can do on the ball.
Yeah, he's thick line playmaker, wasn't he?
Exactly. And I think that's the role that Trent's going to go and have. It's not going to be, I'm going to be defensive. It's going to be, can we go and find the pass early?
That player that can keep the ball moving constantly, keep the opposition on their toes. You know, Trent's got every pass in the game as well, as you said earlier, Jerry. You know, it's just out of all that everyone just thinks he's a crosser. He's not. He's literally got every passer in the game. So
he's got the whole set of golf clubs, hasn't
he? Exactly. And
the thing about that as well is, I just want to roll it back a bit. Like,
go on.
Like, Trent isn't a bad defender. Okay, this is something we need to kind of get out of our heads. Like, watch Trent defend when he's in a defensive position. He's a good defender. Like, he is a good defender. We did really well with him playing as a right back. We won everything with him as a right back, defensive wise. The problem is we're asking him to do too many things at once when he's playing inverted. Because we want him to come into midfield. We want him to dominate the game. We want him to do all these passes. But we also want him to be a defender. And we also want him to be a right back. Can't do everything at once. Like, that's the issue, is we leave ourselves short because we're asking two players to do too many jobs, as in the right side of centre-back and also the right back, who we want to invert. So that's what's going to stop next season. So you're going to have a Canate, which probably isn't going to pull hamstrings. You're probably going to have maybe a right-sided defender, or you're maybe going to play Quansah more. So there's going to be more stability there. And you're going to have a right-back, as in Bradley, who's going to knows that he's going to defend, but he also knows he's going to attack. Yeah, and he knows he's got to come back. And then we might get Gertrude, who's a really good right-sided player as well. So
I think that's the problem.
Trent can have over 100 passes a game in midfield. Like, he could just dominate the game if we can free it up so we can have the ball.
I think the problem you've got with a Trent though is like it's always gonna be this. This is gonna be the narrative, right? If he's playing up, and I think this is the narrative when he's at right back, not necessarily midfield, because we haven't seen him there for Liverpool. But if he's at right back and he's getting forward and he's trying to influence the game from an attacking standpoint, we'll criticize the fact that he's not in defensive positions, and when he's getting roasted, we're going to get onto him for that. But if he just stays back and just becomes a defender and doesn't start to go and create and do all of that, watch the narrative change and be like, yeah, Trent, man, look at his assists. He's not getting any assists anymore, man. He's not even doing this. He's not even getting he's not even spraying that pass anymore. All he's doing is crossing the ball. Yeah, we need to get someone else in there that can be a bit more influential, because you're going to look at you know what I mean? You're going to pop down and look at London and look at Reece James doing all of this, and you're going to be like, oh my God, that's what I want. And you're going to see Alphonso Davies for Real Madrid attacking. You're going to be like, oh my God, look, that's what fullbacks are doing, but this fullback isn't doing enough. And Trent can do it, and why isn't he doing it? And there's going to be that narrative. You just have to accept. You can't, again, as K-Mac said, he can't do everything, and a player can't do everything. So when he's going and being forward and he's coming inverted and he's on the left-hand side and he's really, really high, but he's not in position to get back, Klopp's fine with that. Klopp has been fine with that. That's the risk you want to play with. But likewise, when Southgate's going to go and play Trent in midfield, right? And I mean, we're not we've only got one person sitting back, and Rice might be isolated 1 or 2 times in the game against Serbia. That's because Southgate wants to play with that risk, to know that when we do win the ball, though, Trent's in a position where he can now turn and influence the game, as opposed to being deep and all we can do is just kick it out. That's the trade. That's the trade-off you're going to have with Trent.
And the thing with Trent, right? I've always said this: Trent is actually a good defender when the game's in front of him. It's when the game goes behind him where he has issues with his positioning and he doesn't get in the right position defensively. But if everything's in front of him, if you look at his interceptions, I think he's one of the highest for interceptions in the league, because when the game's in front of him. So if you've got him as the deep lining playmaker, where he's like the deepest back controlling the game in a deeper position, he's majority of the time he's going to have the game in front of him, ain't he? So it'd be easier for him to actually defend in that central position. You know, it's how you play him. But the problem with Trent is so good on the ball, you've got to find a position for him in the team. What I don't want us to do, though, is like what we did last season. I felt like we built a system just around Trent. And that was, for me, a bit of a problem. You just got to find a position for him and, you know, the right way of playing. But as I say, Conor Bradley's coming through as well, and he looks like an absolute superstar as well coming through. So, you know, at the moment, I think I'd prefer Conor Bradley at right back and Trent in midfield. Just play him as that deep line playmaker. Get a by the DM they want next to him. Play McAllister a little bit further forward of him, and you've got a nice trio there in midfield that can play the ball and keep possession. That's the thing. It's about keeping possession. We give the ball away so much sometimes in midfield when we're high up.
Absolutely.
That's why we cause a lot of mistakes. If you look at back on our season, a lot of the goals we give away are our own mistakes, where we're terrible at keeping possession high up in the pitch and not knowing what to do with it as well. You know, we play a lot of ball in front of teams, where Trent, he will penetrate with his passing from midfield. You know, it won't always go right either. They'll put a ball over the top and it might go out of play, or it might go wide, or it might not meet his man, because he's trying to pass that no one else in the team can do, and it will pay off. But you've just got to trust that process with him, and I think Trent's he's got to be in there.
That triangle of the defenders, that just has to stop next season. Like we got rinsed so many times.
Oh, they're playing out from the back as slowly as possible.
That 3.
I know Jerry loved
3
that.
passes,
Jerry.
triangle. Oh, I hated it so much.
That was Jerry's favourite system, wasn't it, Jerry? That slow play out from the back.
The thing about last season as well is it genuinely felt like it really felt like we come to a decision that we were going to play this inverted, and it just had to work. Like we didn't have any variation of it. It was like, we're playing this inverted and that's it. Like if it's not working, then we're just going to keep on playing it, because eventually it's going to work.
Do you know when we didn't play it? Shall I tell you when we didn't play it?
We didn't play against Tottenham, did we?
No, do you know when we didn't play it? Anytime Nunes didn't play, anytime we went and played Gakpo or Jota, we didn't play inverted. As soon as Nunes comes on, you play inverted, because again, Liverpool's idea or principles are under Pep Lijnders was to dominate the midfield. So can we get a 4th player in midfield? Now back in the day, it was Bobby Firmino that was dropping in. We had Gakpo dropping in before that. You had Jota that can drop in as well. Nunes dropping in. Honestly, it's like Bambi on ice. He's not going to control the ball. He's not going to do anything. You need to get him away from the play. So you need him stretching the team. And if he's stretching the team, you then need someone else coming inverted. You need that was the idea. Someone needs to come inside. So we can have Mo come inside, but then Mo's away from play. We can have Diaz come inside, but then Diaz is away from play. So we either have to put Gomez in there or whoever, or Robbo, or we put Trent in there. Now, Trent's the best passer, and I think that's how it kind of worked. And I think when we had Bradley's offensive output is great, like when he's just running forward, so he's able to go and do that. We need to play Gomez in that inverted role then, because what it does, it gives us a basis to stop the counter-attack, because we've got 4 in midfield.
Yeah, and the weird thing about all this, because me and came out and talked about this all last season, this like inverting Trent, so we got more. So we've got more possession in midfield, and we can have more control in midfield. Why don't we just change 3 at the back, and then we'll have that extra midfielder naturally without having an inverted player?
That's what it essentially was. But that's what it was, isn't it? So defensively, we went into a 4-4-2, but in possession, we were 3 at the back. In possession, at times,
because most of the time it was 2.
But most of the time,
all the way up the other end.
We were brave enough. It was 2. We even went 2. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's when Liverpool was super brave, isn't it? That's when Liverpool was super brave, and arguably that's when Liverpool were. It's like if Liverpool do it right, though, that's when Liverpool are at their best, when they do it correctly. But I don't think we had the players last season to quite do it correctly towards the end of the season, and they got tired out and injured. But yeah, and also Robbo is that third centre back. It's not the right choice personally, so
no.
And that's why I don't understand why Joe Gomez just came out of the team when he was actually doing really well at left back. But talking about Joe Gomez,
the weird thing about it as well is Gomez came out and we fell off a cliff.
Yeah, I don't understand why Gomez.
We fell off a cliff. Like
I still to this day don't understand why Gomez lost his place. And you never saw him again when Robbo come back, by the way. With Gomez though, Jerry, it's an interesting one. Joe Gomez, he's at an age now. He's been at Liverpool a long time. I think he's now been there longer than Klopp officially now. So he wants to play regularly, does Joe Gomez? I think Joe Gomez does see himself as a centre-back. He's probably got aspirations of getting into the England team. Do you think Joe Gomez is looking at his future at Liverpool this summer? And if an offer came in for Joe Gomez, do you think Liverpool would stand in his way of leaving?
If you wanted to leave, no. I don't think they'd stand in his way, because I don't think he's they don't look at him like a guaranteed starter. Well, under the last manager. Again, it changes. If Slot comes in, you don't know. Like, there's so many players in this squad you might look at and be like, you know what? Yeah, like, he rates Tsimikas but doesn't rate Robertson, or you know what? He doesn't, like, a madness could happen. He says, actually, I want Kelleher instead of, like, managers have done that. We've seen it. Even when Terry was at Chelsea, manager came in, yeah, Terry, I don't want you, you know. Terry, you're going to be on the bench. This was it Conte?
I think so, yeah.
I think it was Conte, Sarri, one of them. One of them came in and said, yeah, you're not my centre back anymore. I'm gonna play Zuma and whoever. So you just don't know what the manager's ideals and what he's gonna want from players. So Gomez could again come back in and he might be the starting centre back, and it changes. So then, you know, Liverpool don't want to get rid of him because Slot sees him as an integral part of what he wants to do. But currently, when you look at it, he's a backup right back and left back and a backup centre back. At his age, football's a short career. If I was him, I'm just going to get a move somewhere else. Yeah. Go to a Newcastle, go to an Aston Villa, a team where, you know, you can easily still get into the England team. In England setup, it's proven by, you know, Gay at Crystal Palace, Dunk at Brighton. You can still get into the England team, but play regularly. And, do you know what I mean, touch with, albeit without injuries, you can still be a really, really good player. But it's just not going to happen at Liverpool, because Liverpool, in the time he's been injured and been out of form, Liverpool have now recruited 2-3 centre-backs in that time. We actually recruited like 5, but it just hasn't worked out with a couple of them in terms of the Ghost and Kabak. So, you know, that's the situation you're in, I think.
Yeah, Gomez, I like Joe Gomez. I think he's a good player, man. I think he's just been unfortunate with, you know, really bad injuries in his young career. The thing with Joe Gomez, he is quite versatile as a defender, ain't he? You know, he can play full-back areas, centre-back areas. He's quite comfortable in either. You know, at left-back, he obviously can't get forward like a left-back can because he's right-footed. But I actually thought defensively he was pretty good when he was playing left-back. Still don't understand why he came out of the team when Robbo was fit. I don't think Robbo's performances were anywhere near as good as Joe Gomez's last season in that position. we've seen Joe Gomez cover at right back. I actually think he's better at left back than he is right back, personally. Don't know why.
Yeah,
He just seems like he is. And then
He
obviously he
looks
can
more
cover at centre
threatening.
back.
He
But
looks
the
more
thing,
threatening going forward.
But what is he? 25 now? 26?
27.
Yeah, he's at an
Because he comes
age where
centrally. It's because he comes centrally, Jamie. When he's
Yeah.
at right back, all
he's got to stay
his
wide,
natural inclinations, you need to just stay out wide and get forward. Now that's not his forte. He's a he's a player that's he's more comfortable in the center. So if he can come inside, now the game opens up for him on his favored right foot. He looks a bit better. He can take some shots, like if he wants to. When the fans tell him shoot, he can pass. Like it's just easier for him. It's like if you had to ask him again, is as you said, where would you prefer to play? He'd say centre back. He sees himself as a central player, not as a player that's playing out wide.
Definitely. Look, I wouldn't sell Joe Gomez personally. But if a team came in for him in the summer, especially a London-based team, I don't think Liverpool would stand in his way of going. I think they'd be like, okay, we understand it. And I think Joe would actually, like, if Tottenham came in for Joe Gomez, I think, or a West Ham came for Joe Gomez. Like, if West Ham came in for Joe Gomez is their starting centre back.
And he should be.
So I'd think he'd seriously look at them deals as well and go and really consider it. I don't think he actually wants to leave Liverpool. Look, his kids have grown up here. They were born here at Liverpool and everything. So this is where his family is now. But he's got to think about his future as well. Bayern? It's been linked with Bayern, yeah. Which, Vinny Company is the coach now. So, yeah.
Bayern will be good for him. Bayern will be good for him.
I don't know about the Bayern links. They've just bought Ito from Stuttgart for 30 million. So they've just got a centre back in.
Yeah, but Eric Dyer's probably. Is Eric Dyer?
I mean, there's a couple of centre backs they're trying to get rid of. I know that.
And Sully's off as well, ain't he? So
I
might have an opening.
I just look. There's not many clubs around to have a player, a utility player, that is just so reliable.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's so many different positions.
Exactly.
It's like rocking horse shit. Like it's just you just don't find that anywhere. Like we're talking about Bradley. Okay, so who's the backup to Bradley if Trent's going to go into midfield? Well, it's Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
Who could be your left back? Well, it's Gomez. Who could be the third choice?
No, it is.
But it's Gomez.
But if you're not,
you know what I mean?
I know. But if you're, I mean, the thing is, but if the plan is Liverpool go and get this Gertruida that you're talking about,
yeah,
then you've got the backup right back, or you've got right back.
Well, I think Bradley would be the backup if we get Gertruida. I think he's a starter.
Oh yeah. Then, but either or, I mean, depends on form. But yeah. I hear that. At left back, unless Tsimikas gets sold, you've got two left backs in it. So he's now third choice in both of those positions. He's then fourth choice or third choice at centre back. If you get Yoro,
but what I'm saying, Jerry, is you don't sell him. Like if he wants to go, then
no. Yeah. What I'm saying is,
and we'll get good money for him because he cost like 5 million, didn't he, or something?
Put it this way: if the likes of like Kelleher, Gomez, Tsimikas, if they don't want to go and they just I don't mind, I don't want to play games. Yeah, you keep them, of course. Yeah. What I'm trying to add though is an aspect of kind of realism into it, where all right, he wants to progress in his career. At one point, he was the starting centre back at Liverpool. Since his injury, he has not been able to regain that spot, and he wants to go to the Euros. This Euros now, he's not going to get a game. I don't see him getting a game.
Not unless Shaw gets injured.
No, even then they're going to play Trippier out wide. He's like, unless there was a massive just honestly, Pizzagate, everyone goes ill, and we've got no players left, and he's one of the. Then you'll play. But Gay's ahead of him in this squad. Dunk's ahead of him in this squad. Walker at centre back's ahead of him in this squad. He's going there just for training purposes. So it's good for him that he's going. It's a great experience. He's not going to play though, but he wants to play.
Do you think Gomez is quite similar to like a Jamie Carragher? Where, Carragher, when he was coming through at Liverpool, he was quite versatile, and he played right back, he played left back for a couple of seasons, and then eventually we sold our defenders, and it gave an opportunity for Carragher to be Hippier's partner, and they carried on and had a great partnership for years. I just look at Gomez now, though, and thinking Van Dijk and Konate and Kwanzaa are all ahead of Joe Gomez as centre-backs right now, in my opinion, at starting centre-backs.
Add Yoro to that list.
And if Yoro comes, he's ahead of him. I wouldn't sell. I don't think any of us would willingly let Joe Gomez go, because it seems pointless if he's happy to play a versatile role at Liverpool. But the problem is, if Joe Gomez wants first team football, I don't think Liverpool can guarantee him that right now. And then it's up to Joe Gomez what he wants to do with his future, ain't it? I literally think this is all on Joe. If Joe's happy staying, Liverpool ain't going to sell him. But if Joe feels like he wants to play first team football, Liverpool can't guarantee him that, can they? So then it's up to Joe himself. It's all up to Joe. It literally is up to Joe.
The thing about that as well is, it's really unfortunate on Gomez as well, because if he hadn't got those two horrific injuries back to back, he missed nearly 2 years, by the way. I think he would have been the centre back next to Virgil van Dijk, because the partnership they had that year was incredible. So one of the best partnerships we've had as centre.
Yeah, and he was getting in England team, and he was looking good. He was
sensational.
Them injuries cut his career, man. It really did cut 100%. His career.
And for him to come back as well, by the way, to get himself back into the England team and to get himself back into the Premier League, challenging for the Premier League after those two injuries, which could have ended anyone's career, to be fair, kudos to him. I do think he's just a bit too nice. He's happy to be at the club, and you have some of those players around. Tsimikas seems like another guy who's really happy to just be back up. What do? You end up just being backup.
Look, if Joe, I'm going to say it now, if Joe Gomez is happy being back up in our
players,
team, yeah, if Gomez is happy being back up in our team, I'm keeping Gomez, because
100%.
That's a valuable player in your team that's happy to play that position and come in when needed. Who am I going to buy that can do Gomez's job and let Gomez go? You're going to spend a lot of money, aren't you? So this thing's a bit of a pointless thing to do for me. So if Joe's that's why I said all this for me is on Joe. If Joe Gomez feels like he wants to be a guaranteed first teamer as a centre back now, then he's probably going to have to leave Liverpool. If he's happy in his role at Liverpool, then Liverpool aren't even going to sell him, are they? They're going to be happy to keep him. Yeah,
I think Gomez gets into every team, by the way, apart from the top three. I really do. I think he
he's a talented
every
player.
team
He's
apart from the top three, back. Man United, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Every other team
as a
starter. Yeah. I think he starts for Aston Villa. I think he starts for Tottenham. I think he starts for Man United. Honestly, he starts. He starts as a centre back.
Yeah, who does he start ahead of at Aston Villa?
So if they've got a Brazilian.
Who do you think?
Who's the other guy? The English guy that was injured.
I don't
know. Not Conte, because Conte played right back, didn't he? Yeah, he's better than him.
Yeah, but Konza played right back because Cash was injured, right? Because Cash has been injured.
Yeah.
If Cash is there, you've got Konza.
The centre back they had. Who's he? The one that Gerrard.
Carlos, Pau Torres, Tyrone Mings.
Tyrone Mings. He's better than Tyrone Mings.
Yeah, no, I don't rate Tyrone Mings, but I'm saying I don't know about Pau Torres and Carlos.
I don't know about Pau Torres.
Pau Torres is decent, to be fair, yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, he is. Do you know what I mean? And then you go and look at you go and look at Newcastle, Botman and Cher. Is he better than them?
Yeah, I think he's better.
I'd say he's better than Cher, but not Botman.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Fabian Scher's okay. Fabian Scher's okay. That's why I said West Ham.
If you put him next to a Virgil van Dijk, if you put him next to a really good defender, I think he improves.
But that's the point, though. That's what the best players do, is that whoever's next to them look quality. Yeah. It's so Kwanzaa looks quality because he's next to Virgil van Dijk. Kwanzaa and I don't know, Tyrone Mings at the back, he starts to look a bit scary. Do you know what I mean? As a backline. So
Yeah,
what I'm saying is,
I think
about
Tyrone Mings
Virgil.
is just scary, to be honest, mate.
I think with Virgil though, he's going to make anyone look good next to him because it's Virgil. So it's a bit of a, Tyrone Mings would look world class next to Virgil. That's be.
I'm not sure.
I'm
not sure. I'm not sure on that one either.
It's difficult, but that's why I said West Ham. I think West Ham need a centre back. I think Joe Gomez at West Ham be perfect.
Bonner's just left on a free.
Yeah, I think Gomez at West Ham.
They've got Aguirre who's really good, and then you got I don't know, he could battle out for with Zuma.
But so
that's what I'm saying. So so he could play there, but then Gomez, I know he hasn't been injured this season. God forbid he goes for another injury spell. That back line don't look reliable at all.
No. It is. Drew says he's not better than Konza and Carlos. He's better than Konza, but Carlos maybe not.
I don't think he's better than Konza. I really don't. I think he had more potential. I think Konza's been so solid for a team. He's played regularly as well at right back as well, so he could do that the same thing that Joe Gomez has done in a team that wasn't expected to finish in Europe, and they have done.
Yeah,
in the Champions League.
It's weird with Villa, ain't it? I think Villa had a tremendous season, and then they're letting Douglas Luiz go, and they're going to have a worse midfield next season than they did this season.
Trying to Matty Cash as well, by the way.
They'll get someone else in. They'll get someone else in.
You don't, because what is it?
No. But I think
the guy from Luton.
Barkley, I think, was an opportunistic signing because they got him, I think, for so cheap. I think it was at 6 mil or something. And Barkley was outstanding. He was outstanding for Luton last season. He was really good.
Yeah, but in the Premier League.
McKennie and Barkley can't be your midfield.
But but it won't be their midfield. They will have McGinn. I know Kamara's still injured, but they'll have McGinn in there. They'll sign someone else, 1,000,000%.
Didn't they get 2 midfielders from Juventus in exchange?
No, they got 2 players. They got Bino Gittins, the winger.
Is that who it is? A winger.
Bino Gittins.
No, they got who's that other lad? They got some English guy who came through their
Ramsey.
Yeah, Bino Gittins. That's him. Bino Gittins.
No, from Juve.
Bino Gittins.
No, Bino Gittins is from Dortmund.
Oh, it's the Ishai Samuel, not Bino Gittins. Ishai Samuel.
Looks
Ishai
good.
Samuel,
Samuel. He looks good.
Sorry, I was saying Bino Gittins, but so what I'm saying is, with Aston Villa, it's like for me, I trust Emery a lot. It's like like Etienne Capoue. Etienne Capoue was at Spurs. Everyone looked at him like he's rubbish. He went to Villarreal and was balling out. You had Francis Coquelin, again, another player that at Arsenal was all right. No, like Arsenal fans had enough of him. Went to Villarreal. I think he's one of their most capped players now. I think he plays every single game. And he's done well. So the Weston McKennie one I get because of what he can provide. On his day, he can be really good, but he's kind of fallen off. Barkley had a really good season. I think that's opportunistic. I think they go and get someone else. And I think it'll be like a smart signing from like the Championship or someone. And they'll have that from, and obviously Kamara's going to come back as well. So
they definitely got Ramsey as well to come back because he's been injured as well.
He's
an unbelievable.
Got a lot of options.
Ramsey's
gone as well, so they're going to get someone else in. Zaniolo's off on loan. Like, they'll get some players in.
It's just a shame that a team that finished 4th in the league and got Champions League football has to sell their best midfielder to just make PSR. It's just mad, ain't it? It's absolutely.
Jamie, we were in that situation for years. Yeah, you get top 4, Mascherano. See ya.
It's such a shame, ain't it?
See ya.
It's just a shame that these teams can't keep their best players and compete. I just feel Villa will slip back next season. I really do.
Spot on there. Mark Simons just wrote that in the chat. Paco's their assistant manager. Do you remember him?
Yeah. He's
secret weapon.
He's a weird man, that Paco. He's a
very weird.
What midfield are we getting in as a DM, guys? Because obviously Liverpool, most Liverpool fans think the only thing they're missing in midfield is a DM when you look at all the other attributes we got in that position. And they're probably right. I like Wataru Endo. I think Wataru Endo is a perfect backup DM next season. I've got no problem with that. But who do we go and buy, guys? As I said earlier, the DM position, if you're looking at actual DMs, the market's very small. Now, I know people keep talking to me about Ugarte. Ugarte lost his place last season to Vitinha. You know, he literally lost his place to Vitinha because Vitinha's a ball-playing number 6 that can break the lines and join attacks and get forward, where Ugarte can't. And this is what I keep saying about his DM position. It's changing. You know, they want these playmakers now that play a deeper role in that 6th position that have got defensive qualities, but can also play with the ball, can join attacks, can break the lines. So what are we looking at, Jerry? DM position. What do you think Liverpool are looking at? Or do they even not buy one and keep what they got?
I think if there's an opportunity for them to get someone, they will. Like if they spot like, I don't know, they realize Adam Wharton's got a 50 million release clause, I think they go and get Adam Wharton straight away. I think they just do that.
Yeah,
I think they don't push for it though. I don't think that they're looking at that position as like, oh, we need to get someone in there. Because again, as you just said, they're like, oh, we've got Endo there, we've got Morton that's still there, which you forget. That obviously Slot just hasn't seen what he's working with in the squad. So until like even if we were to get someone in, this will be closer to like August, end of August. Like, do you know what I mean? When the window shuts, where we can really start to see whether, you know, Slot or the team look at, you know, we need X player because Morton isn't good enough, he needs to go out on loan, and Bajcetic isn't good enough, he needs to go out on loan, and we've got Endo. So when you think about it, you've got 3 players that are like specialist deep line players, right? But if the opportunity arises, yeah, I'd go and get Wharton, man. I just get him. Like one season, just get him. But again, if you're getting him on the basis that Bajcetic and Morton aren't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, do Liverpool see this as a priority position right now? This is the problem, because
I don't think so.
We've got a lot of midfielders, and I believe Jurgen Klopp said last season that he feels like, because when they asked him about McAllister playing there, he basically said he feels like the 6th position is changing, and you want that possession-based deep line playmaker that's not really a DM, but it's got defensive attributes that can defend in that position. I personally feel like it weren't the DM position that really ruined us last season. It was the system. Because if you look at Arsenal, Jorginho's their DM, yeah? You put Jorginho as Liverpool's DM, right? We still concede chance after chance because there's no way Jorginho, if his legs can get around the way a Liverpool play under Jurgen Klopp being so attacking minded and leaving our defenders one-on-one. You know, I think systems come into it a lot, the way you defend off the ball. It's just who do you buy of that position?
I think what we're looking at is we're looking at someone who can cover a lot of ground, who can dominate the game and basically free up space and time for the midfielder next to him. So for me, there's only a few players out there that kind of do that, and I'm not talking a destroyer. I'm just talking about someone who can just get around the park fast, loads of sprints, but short sprints, repeatedly, got an engine on them, happy to get stuck in. You know, I'm not saying we need to get another Fabinho, because maybe we need someone who can do a little bit more than that, who can maybe be involved in the play a bit better. I don't think Endo's got the engine enough to do that, which is why I think Ederson has to be top of our list. Like, he really does. Like, Ugarte is the type of player that, and I've heard someone say this before, is if Ugarte doesn't get a tackle in like 5 minutes, he'll just tackle his own player because he just loves to be involved and he loves to get stuck in. I'm not sure that's the kind of guy we need in a slot team. We need someone who can pick the ball up, dominate the midfield in the towards like the defensive side of things, and be able to play it into the other midfielders, because that's what he had Matt Sweefer do. Matt Sweefer could play the 6, he could play the 8, he could play maybe a little bit higher up if he needed to. He did a bit of everything, but we don't seem to have anyone who's really that defensive minded. And I understand that like McAllister had like #1 interceptions in the Premier League and stuff. Like, he had some really, really high stats in defensive actions, but do you want him to be that guy? Because he got injured a lot.
No,
When
yes.
he went into
Yes,
tackles,
higher up.
he was always the
Yeah.
one lying on the floor getting treatment. And when we moved him out into the 8 position, he got like more assists and more goals. Like he got to free up and do what he was really good at Brighton and Argentina. And that's why I think Edison, you know, there's other players as well. There's Homeland who we're linked with. Obviously Timo Cooper-Mayers, but he's injured now. Probably not him. You know, Paulini we've been linked with.
Do you know who Edison reminds me of, though?
Who's that? You're breaking up unless
It
you're
reminds me a
teasing
bit
me.
of like Fred.
Yeah, it does remind me of Fred. But I didn't think Fred was that bad of a player.
He reminds me of Fernandinho, Man City.
The
For
thing
me,
with
it's more like
Edison,
Fred, though. Like I don't think he's as good on the ball. I think he's more like a terrier, man for man. He shows good energy. Like I know he done well for Atalanta, but I'm not that moved by him. Again, I haven't seen a lot of him, but he's a good player. I just don't think that's the answer for Liverpool.
yeah, and I think that's why Liverpool are waiting.
I think Adam
Morton's
Morton's the answer for Liverpool, by the way. I think he's insane.
Yeah, Adam Morton would make sense, but then you got Stefan Bajcetic there, ain't you?
Like they paid 20 million for him. Just go and throw 50 at them now. Like,
exactly. Just throw 50. Yeah.
I think the thing is Liverpool
Bajcetic gets sacrificed. That's it.
The thing is though, Bajcetic, I think Liverpool look at him and think, do we need Adam Morton when we got Stefan there who does the same job? That's what they're going to be looking at.
He's as good.
I don't think he is.
And that's what they're going to be looking at. Look, my problem with Stefan, I think he's a talented player. But as I keep saying, he's played 21 games in 18 months. And
needs a loan, mate.
He needs a loan for me. He needs playing time. When I look at Edison for Atalanta, he's a bit like Declan Rice in a way, that sort of box to box kind of defensive player who likes to join attacks, you know, and can defend and all that sort of stuff. A bit like Fred. But I never thought Fred was that bad of a player, to be perfectly honest. I don't
think he's bad, but my point is I don't see, is he the answer? Is when you're thinking about where can Liverpool improve, does Edison elevate that midfield? Or is he someone that comes in and he's just like, yeah, he plays one game, maybe he doesn't, good for rotation, might take, like in that Curtis Jones, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai bracket? Or is he someone that you're looking at like what Fabinho was? He comes in and he's the main man in that 6. Like he's your answer, irrespective of what the role is.
I think he's a starter with Endo as backup.
It depends what Liverpool see as their number 6, ain't it? I mean, what fans see as a number 6 is a destroyer.
I don't think Liverpool see a number 6, mate.
I don't think Liverpool look at it like that. Exactly, I agree. I don't. You know, Real Madrid. Who's their DM? Camavinga. Camavinga's not really.
Tchouaméni as well.
Yeah, Tchouaméni and Camavinga are not really out and out DMs either. What you think a DM is, you know, they're ball playing DMs. They can join attacks. They can play through the middle. They can cut passing lanes. They got good passes. They got good ability. They can defend. They're not an out and out. Like Max Weaver, I know apparently he's going to AC Milan. So that's. But what do Liverpool see? You know, what do they see in that position? I honestly think Liverpool look at Stefan Bajcetic as their player for that position. I think that's what they look at. And they're looking at like, I'm going to get a Walton from Palace when I've got Stefan there and McAllister and Endo. Do I need Alec like Wharton? Or do I need Edison? I don't know what Liverpool look at.
The rumours are we were scouting Timo Cooper-Mayers, and this is the rumours, by the way. We were scouting Timo Cooper-Mayers,
wanted Edison.
And Edison was like he was the standout guy, and then we literally gone right. Okay, let's get Edison instead.
See, I'll be all right with that. I ain't going.
Path looks clear, by the way. It looked like Atalanta were only selling one player. It was either Cooper-Mayers or Edison. Cooper-Mayers got injured. Juventus are now buying Douglas Luiz, which means the path's clear. And I think Ederson's pissed off his club as well by saying that he wants to play in the Premier League. So you don't want to get on the wrong side of Gasperini.
Yeah, it's where the money is, though, isn't it? I mean, Gasperini might not even be Atalanta manager next season either.
I just think that I just think that you put him into a different team, you're going to get a better player. Like, and at the moment, at Gasperini's team, he's being asked to do a role which is basically like just charge around and dominate and boss the ball and win high tackles, high up the pitch and get his possession back. And it's a different ball game at Liverpool, which means he'll be able to show off more of his attributes.
And he obviously
goals.
And he obviously can defend as well, because Atalanta play that one-on-one defending all over the pitch. So he obviously can defend. And Liverpool want to go with that, and that's what Liverpool want to go with. I'm all right with it. If that's Liverpool's vision of what their DM is going to be, I'm perfectly fine with it. If it works.
Who would you go with? Also, who would you go with?
I don't honestly know. This is my honest opinion.
Jamie doesn't agree with any players that I want, by the way, Jerry.
No, I don't. I don't agree with anyone, to be absolutely fair. But it's the only thing that I don't agree with anyone is that I don't know what Liverpool want. That's my main thing. I just want what's the system that Arne Slot wants to play? How does he want to play going forward? Then get the players that suit that way. It might not be a fashionable name. It might not be a popular name. But if it works, that's all that matters, ain't it, at the end of the day? Literally. That's all that matters.
I mean, it's 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, isn't it?
Yeah, so if Ederson works,
pivot,
you play a double pivot of McAllister and Ederson, and that frees up a 10 position for like a Szoboszlai, a Harvey Elliott, or a Gravenberch. Then I'm all for it. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Ederson's probably the one.
I actually think a double pivot of Ederson and Trent. And put Mac as the 10.
Put Mac as the 10. That could work as well. Bruno Guimaraes.
How tall is Ederson? Is he still quite short, or is he tall?
He's 5'8", 5'9", I think.
He's 5'9".
Yeah,
he's pretty good in the air, by the way. Like he's pretty good in the air.
I get it. I just think, see, when you're coming up against like City and Arsenal, if you're looking at those, look at their midfield, innit? They're all 6 foot plus, and they're good on the ball, and you might just lose a battle in the air. And I know Endo's good in the air, but do you know what I mean? We were told Endo's good in the air. He wasn't like the best in the air. He was decent. Do you know what I mean? For his height, he was good. Yeah.
Didn't Endo win the most aerial duels out of any of our midfielders last season as well?
Yeah, he might have done, which is mad, isn't it?
Which is mad because he's small. I get what you're saying. I mean, look, Real Madrid dominated with Toni Kroos and Modric, who are not the biggest. I think it depends how you want to play, though. But the Premier League is more physical, so we have to agree with that.
They dominate, but it's weird. They dominated. If we look at the Champions League, they dominated against Dortmund. Well, Dortmund, to be fair, in that first half, have dominated them, and obviously they managed to win, which is the most important. But if you go back and look at like City against Real Madrid, I don't know how City didn't win.
I don't look personally.
I don't win either.
Personally, I don't know how Real Madrid got through in most of their games. It's a madness.
Voodoo magic, mate.
It's mad that Madrid have got some. I don't know. They got a witch doctor on site or something like that. But Madrid, it's mad. Like Madrid have got good players, obviously quality players, but I wouldn't say they're the best team in Europe either. They're, you watch their European game. Like the year they won it, when they played, they should have got beaten by Chelsea. They should have got beaten by Man City. They should have got beaten by Liverpool in the final. Like this year, they shouldn't have beaten Man City. You should have. Borussia Dortmund should have been 3-0 up at half time in the final, and they still win things. It's mad, ain't it? The Madrid, they just got a voodoo hold on that Champions League. I'm telling you, they just got a voodoo hold on it.
Wasn't their goal scorer wasn't that the first goal he scored all season in the Champions League?
Yeah. First goal, 2.5.
Carvajal.
Yeah. It's a mad.
And they tried that move 3 times in the game, and it didn't work.
But talking about centre backs, by the way, Would anyone take a punt on Nacho because he's leaving Real Madrid?
It's a bit slow. I'd take a punt on Max Hummels, by the way. He's left on a free transfer.
Yeah. How old's Max Hummels?
Matt Hummels left on a free transfer.
Could be a shout. Could be a shout.
Player. He was player of the season for Dortmund.
He's a good player. I just don't know about his age now.
34, I think.
The midfield situation, I think. So how many players, Jerry? How many players do you think Liverpool go by? Because I think we'll go by 3.
2, maybe 1.
See, I think we'll go by a centre back, a midfielder, and a forward. Because I do think one forward will leave. What 3's that to buy a forward? I
don't think we buy a forward. I don't think Liverpool buy a forward. I think they buy a centre back and maybe a keeper. If a DM position opens up, they may get a DM, but I don't think they see it as a pressing option.
Yeah,
I think Kelleher goes.
I don't know if Kelleher leaves.
I don't think he leaves either.
I think he came out and said he wanted to, innit? He wants to be a first team.
Yeah,
so.
But Liverpool want the money, don't they?
That's fair. That's fair. Him saying that though, like he should be saying like I want.
Yeah, he should be saying that. He should be.
That doesn't mean he wants to leave.
I just don't know if.
No. But I think you don't, in the position that he's in, at the age he's at, saying at this age I want. He's not saying, oh, one day I want to be a first team. He's saying, look, I'm at my age now. I've got a sniff of it. I want to play regular games now.
That should be
an indicator. Yeah, and I think there will be clubs out there that pay 20 million or whatever it is. I think.
Yeah.
The issue we've got with Keller, by the way, and people probably aren't thinking about this. The goalkeeper market is high, as in there's other goalkeepers that are up for sale. You know, you've got the Burnley kid, and you've also got Ramsdale that are probably going to get sold.
Yeah,
so and other teams can buy goalkeepers.
Ain't Oblak a free transfer as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of goalkeepers which are available. So this whole thing about like we're going to get loads of money for Keller,
there's a lot.
I don't think he's going to be sold.
But there's a lot of clubs, man, that you can go to. Remember, Kelleher's like you can go France, you can go Italy, you can go wherever. Yeah. And as a keeper, to get regular game time, that's the most important thing. If anything, he wants to go to a club where you can keep out the most. Do you know what I mean? Keep out the most shots. He don't want to go to the best team. Like for him, for his development, he wants to go to a team where, we play decent football. I can play at the back, but we might concede a lot of chances. Like Brighton will be a great shout for him. Brighton would be a great if he was to go to Brighton.
Boy, yeah, it'd be a good,
really good move. If he goes, got De Zerbi going Marseille. He go Marseille. Boy, that's another good move.
Wolves would be a good move for him.
Yeah,
as well.
Wolves because he would go in as their first team goalkeeper.
All these teams have got to do.
Southampton, Leicester, Leeds, Leeds didn't come out, but Southampton, Leicester, so many clubs you can go to. Ipswich,
all these teams have got to do is put up the money and he'll go. It's as simple as that. If they pay the 25 million Liverpool want, if they pay the 25 million that he want, he'll leave. But it's if they pay the money.
I don't think
that's
so.
If they pay the money.
James Trafford is available for 15 million. Like he's available for 15, 20 million. Like
unless
teams are going to buy him instead.
Yeah, but you've got one keeper that's played. But you've got one keeper that's played in the Champions League. He's played in the Europa League now. He's played in the Carabao Cup and won it. And he's played for Liverpool. And you've got one keeper that, I know he's good, but came from Man City and got game, albeit he got game time for Burnley. It's not that you could pick either or. I don't think Trafford might stay at Burnley in it, but again, Trafford is a keeper that's going to get regular game time. Kelleher, on the other hand, is a keeper that's he knows I'm not going to get any game time. And he'll look at it and be like, well, I need to go now. Well, what's he going to do? Stay until he's 28. And he's 25, 26 years old.
And that's why Kelleher has been... That's why for all these years, Kelleher has been a perfect number 2 for Liverpool. And that's why it's going to be very difficult to get a number 2 when you know Alisson's your number 1.
Why do you think we tried to give Adrian the extension?
Exactly. You're telling a goalkeeper to come in knowing Alisson's number 1. You know what I'm saying? You arguably got the best goalkeeper on earth is your number 1 goalkeeper. Getting a number 2 is going to be extremely difficult. That's why Kelleher has been perfect in that role all these years. And that's why Liverpool want a good transfer fee for him. And if no one comes in for him, then for that transfer fee, Liverpool ain't going to sell him unless they get the value. Because, as I said, we've got the grown-ups back now doing the deals, ain't we? So, they go want the correct money.
Yeah.
Look,
I signed 3. I think we signed 3, by the way.
Yeah, I think we signed 3 as well.
Yeah.
I don't think we need that many signings either. Like, people are going mad saying like 6, 7, 8 signings, and it's like, what the fuck? It's I personally think we only need 3 or 4 at most this summer. What people got to remember is that Arne Slot's coming in as a brand new manager. He's going to want to evaluate the team. He doesn't know what this team can do under him yet, so he needs a year with them. Firstly, also, you bought 4 new midfielders in the summer last year that are probably only going to get better as the years go on. You got Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott in that midfield as well, that are young and talented. You had 1 DM or 1 midfield. You got Carvalho coming back, who might actually get a chance under Arne Slot. You got you got Stefan Bajcetic there as well. So you got a big midfield there that's filled up. So you're going to have to sell people. You got Tyler Morton coming back, who could be there as a homegrown player. We don't know. We'll see how that goes. He might be loaned out again. So there's a possibility of Liverpool getting 1 midfielder in that position. You need a new centre-back. Well, Liverpool would definitely go buy a centre-back. There you got 4 centre-backs. We've got 2 full-backs in Robbo and Tsimikas at the left. 2 full-backs at the right at the moment in Trent and Conor Bradley. And we've got 5 forwards. So how many? I don't get why people are saying we need about 5, 6, 7 signings. If Kelleher goes, we need a new number 2. We need a centre back that we're actively looking for. We'll get a new forward if one of them leaves, and we'll probably look at a DM if that DM comes available. Jerry, don't you think? Like, do we actually really need these many signings that everyone keeps going on about?
I mean, we don't need them. When you look at it on paper, you don't need them. Again, for me in this team, I think it's a decent team. I think there's just one spot for me where I'd just go and upgrade straight away. If this was Sunday League, I'd be like, yeah, mate, I mean, you have to look for another club. Like, there's one player, I'm not going to name him, but again, he's done in the number 9 shirt.
It will not be named, but we all know Jerry's talking about.
And for me,
name 5 names, he appears.
Everyone else, again, for me, is like, again, you're under a new manager, consistency. I don't look at you and think you haven't got a touch. You can't control the ball. Your technique is off sometimes. I don't. There's no player in that squad. It's a good team. There's only one player in that team that I go and question all of these things on. And for me, that's the player that you need to go and upgrade. Now, I think it makes a massive difference. Imagine, look, even at the back, right? I know Matip's leaving, so we're going to have to get a centre-back in, which is cool. But let's say you do, but the other position that you sign is you get rid of number 9 and sign an Ivan Toney. I think it makes a massive difference straight away.
Yeah.
Straight away. I think you've got loads of options. You've got Elliott that can play multiple positions. You've got McAllister that's proven he can play multiple positions in the 6. Curtis Jones can as well. You've got Soboslai in there as well that can play out wide. You've got Carvalho coming in. You've got Jayden Danns, if you trust in him, you've got him as well. Like, there's players in that squad. Again, it's just whether,
Jerry, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Let's put it that way.
It's not.
It's really not. There's talent there.
Especially considering, like, I think Liverpool is going to try and get into the top 4 again under a new manager. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I'm happy with it, man. I'm happy with it. I know. Look, we got a lot. Like, people want 6 forwards, 10 midfielders, and like, it's just like, how do you register them all? Firstly, like, it's like for
me, we need 2 players, and we need 2 first-team players. I'm not happy with the left-back position. I don't think Tsimikas is good enough. Unfortunately, he's not been given a chance to prove if he's good enough. Robbo's been on the decline for so long. He's now getting injured, which he never used to before. He's not getting any younger. He's a guy that just relies on his pure athleticism and pace, and that's going to wane because he's going to be in his 30s. and you can tell it's waning anyway because he's not the best player anymore.
No.
So get rid of him. Like, you're not going to get a huge amount of money for him. There's not going to be a huge amount of buyers, but we can't be having a left back that's on 150 grand a week who automatically thinks he will be a starter. I don't think he's a starter for me. So next year we get a left back, whether we get the other Robertson or whether we get Inacio or whether we get someone else. I
Well,
don't
it's like I've been saying, that centre back that can play left back, ain't it? That, you know, like Man City and Arsenal do. Like Ben White's right back, but he's an actual centre back. And thing is that City, that's a centre back that plays left back. They play 3 centre backs and then they have 1, don't they? Maybe you do something like that,
or even put Gomez in there and just guarantee him as your left back next season.
You do something like that. There's a lot of squad options there.
And I literally back as backup. And the other guy is the midfielder. I don't think Endo is good enough. I'm sorry. Like
no.
Hate me if you want to.
I
just don't think Endo's good enough to win us the league. Like,
no, he's a squad player.
He can't stay on top of his game for the whole 90 minutes because he hasn't got the capability to be able to do that, and he can't play every single game. No. And he got overplayed last season, and we cooked him.
You just keep him as your squad player, and I'm fine with Taro. With Taro being that, you know, older, experienced squad player backup is perfectly fine. And
I want Olise. I'll say that.
I literally think if Liverpool go and get a new centre back that could maybe play left back as well, like K-Bet was saying, a DM and a forward, it completely transforms our side. It literally does.
And you can have all of that for less than 150 million. All top class players.
Yeah. They won't be happy, guys, because Liverpool got to spend 400 million this summer.
And we got to buy 9 players.
Yeah, 9 players, and everyone will be happy. Or just do what Chelsea do, just buy random players for any manager that don't fit the system. And
loads of Brazilians. How many Brazilians have they got now?
So I've just read that they've just bought, like, Chelsea are finalising a deal for Duran from Aston Villa for 43.5 million quid. It's the world we live in.
I don't really want to say it on your channel, but I really think there's a lot of dodgy stuff going on between clubs.
It's the world. It's the world.
Newcastle helping Chelsea, Chelsea helping Aston Villa. Like, it all seems a bit iffy. Like, and that stuff about the sponsorship. Have you seen those 2 new shirt sponsors?
Yeah, Palace's
for Wolves and Palace.
It's a madness, man. It's a madness. But it's the world we live in.
I'm just happy we're clean.
Well, as clean as can be. I mean, Standard Chartered are not exactly the good boys here, though, are they? That's the only problem.
Oh, that's actually, to be fair.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a great show. Jerry, thanks for popping on, man. It's appreciated.
Big up, Jerry.
No worries.
Good hearing from you, man. Good hearing from you. Guys, we'll be back soon. I'm on Drifty's show tonight doing the watch along for the first game of the Euro. So make sure you get over to Drifty TV at 7 p.m. tonight, where we will be doing the watch along for Scotland versus Germany. So,
oh God, that's going to be horrific.
What's your prediction?
I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
Same.
I don't think Germany are that great, so I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I think Scotland can get a draw.
0-0.
Yeah, I don't think Germany.
0-0.
I think Germany's issues are going to be scoring goals. I think for Germany to go far in this tournament, they've got to be the ones scoring first in all their matches and defending it out.
Isn't what's her name back in their team out of retirement? Midfielder from Real Madrid.
Cruz.
Isn't he back in their team now out of retirement?
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's back. Last tournament before he retires.
Well, they need him.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-1, man. I think Scotland upset the apple cart. I love to see it, man. I love to see it. And yeah. I think England.
If they win, there's going to be rioting in the street just by all the jocks.
Go for it, man. I think England win it as well. I think England win the Euros.
Same. I actually think England going to win.
Yeah, I think England win because we've been so bad in the warm-ups.
Yeah, I actually think England. Yeah, I think England win the Euros. You know,
and there'll be a statue of Southgate outside Wembley.
Do it, man. I'm in for the vibe for that. Let's do it.
And then he gets the Man United job. That'll just be a dream.
Yeah.
And United get back to and United start winning titles again.
Yeah, right.
Right, guys, we're out of here. Appreciate everyone coming. Bye bye for now.